and you might raise a smash. You'll catch on in a flash, then you can monster mash.
All right, pumpkins, gather around. Georgia won the toss. They have elected to defer. This game has all games. The SEC on CBS, brought to you in high definition television. Well, it's a picture-perfect day, but gusty winds, 67 degrees. Todd, you were down in the field. The winds will have an effect.
Yeah, they will have an effect. They'll have an effect on the quarterbacks throwing it, the kickers, the return guys. It's a little breezier than you might expect.
Bulldogs claim a 46th victory in a game that was played in 1904. Georgia said not true. Florida, rather. We didn't start our football team until 1906. There is a game that was played that is in dispute. And so the records reflect one less game in the Florida annals.
Well, I think this game will be a low-scoring game decided in the fourth quarter, but I think the first quarter will be very critical for both teams and both quarterbacks in particular. Getting off to a good start is critical for both guys.
Brandon Coutu will kick. Manson and Gavin and Dickey are the deep men. And this one is going to sail way deep in the end zone all the way through. And it will come out to the 20-yard line. And it means we will see Chris Leak struggling in his first year in Urban Meyer's offense.
But I'm really interested to see what they do with Chris today, because they've had the extra week of practice. And I think they're going to do some things to make him more comfortable, because they don't have a chance in this game today if Chris Leak is not comfortable and confident. And we'll find out very early on how he looks. If he puts his foot in the ground and steps and throws, that's a good sign for Florida.
Deshaun Wynn and Keyston Moore both in the backfield as protectors. Chad Jackson in motion. Here's the handoff coming left to Deshaun Wynn. And the contact made at the 23. The tackle finally brought down at the 27. Here are the Gator lineups brought to you by BP. Randy Hand, Tavares Washington, Mike DeGore, his 46th consecutive start, Rissler and Butler. Deshaun Wynn in the backfield, Baker, Cornelius, and Jackson the wideouts, and Tate Casey the tight end. Urban Meyer, first full season, 41-year-old head coach, came here from Utah. And it's second down and 3. 3 wides to the right. Now one is in motion. That's Dallas Baker. Leak to throw on second down. Deep. He's got a man wide open. It's Casey, and Leak overthrew it.
Yep. They have not had the tight end involved in their offense too much. This time they have him in. They go to him as the primary read, and he was open on the corner route right on the Florida sideline. Just a slight overthrow by Chris Leak. Again, a lot of adrenaline early in the game for Chris Leak, and just a little bit too much on that throw.
3rd and 3.
This is where I want to see what they do. Third down. When they played LSU 2 weeks ago, every time they got into an empty set backfield, LSU blitzed them. Right away, the first time they've got a back in the backfield with Chris. So that means 6 potential blockers.
Georgia with 3 men down, 6 on the line. This is Wynn in motion. And Leak goes across the middle, has the first down. The catch is made by Dallas Baker at the 32-yard line. Defensively for this Georgia Bulldog team, Will Thompson, Ray Gant, Gerald Anderson, and Quentin Moses. Kedrick Golston is not in uniform, injured. Verdon Wheeler, Tony Taylor, and Jarvis Jackson are the linebackers. Minter, Blue, the hard-hitting Greg Blue, Trey Battle, and Tim Jennings. Billy Latsko is in now, number 42. He's walking back to the right side, and this is Cornelius in motion. They'll hand it off straight up the middle. Big hole. And Verdon Wheeler is up around the shoulders to make the tackle, but that is a huge gain of 13 yards.
And a different type of formation. This was not a spread offense formation. They've got a tight end, they've got a blocking back, and they're giving it to the fullback. They've got extra blockers. This is a power running set. They also brought the wide receiver in motion to block, Chad Jackson. Power football with a power back, Deshaun Wynn. Tavares Washington, the guard, leading up through there. And a couple good runs early for Florida.
Gain of 13, play action. Oh, they hand it off to Wynn. Wynn heads left, cuts back right, and picks up a nice gain of 5 out to the 48-yard line.
Handoff to 21 Green.
Well, you might have noticed, hard not to, new unis for the Florida Gators. Can you spell marketing opportunity? So the intent, of course, is to attract your attention and sell a few in stores throughout the country. And I'm sure it's a little weird looking. That's the point.
Well, Virginia Tech did the same thing on Thursday night.
And Miami had new uniforms today, too. Here's Leak being chased by Will Thompson. That pass incomplete across the 50 at the 47-yard line, intended for Tate Casey.
Tim Jennings with the coverage.
Well, this Florida, Deshaun Wynn has earned his spot now at the starter, but they have really struggled on the ground against the best opponents they've played.
And that's, you know, it's not just the offensive line. It's a little bit of everybody involved in it. That's Chris Leak making the right reads in the running game. But when this offense is working, it starts with having a good, solid zone running game. And if you don't have that, it really limits what you can do.
Take Casey in on 3rd and 6. And again, they do not go with the empty backfield. That's where LSU killed them 2 weeks ago. Leak has a man at the 40. Dallas Baker, second catch, first down, third down conversion.
Okay, now if you're Urban Meyer and Dan Mullen, you are very excited in what you're seeing from Chris Leak right now, because watch him set his feet. This is not what he did 2 weeks ago in Baton Rouge. Good protection. He steps up in the pocket. He makes a strong throw to the sideline because his feet were set. He wasn't backing up. He wasn't falling backwards. And Chris Leak looks confident, and he looks comfortable so far early in the game.
Redshirt freshman Marcus Manson is in the backfield now. That's Kenneth Tukes in, and there's the option. And the handoff to Manson. Speedster from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Let's take another look at Chris Leak, Don.
For any quarterback, it is so critical to be on balance. And throwing accurately is more to do with your feet than it is with your arm. Get your feet set, get your weight transferred, step into the throw, and throw with accuracy. And Chris Leak is off to a good start.
First 7 games, only 33 yards of total offense on their first possession, already 42 in this. It's 2nd down and 8.
And a lot of Billy Latsko, a lot of Tate Casey, more power formations.
Here's the flip out to Manson, and he's at the 35-yard line. I'm thinking back to our conversation with Urban Meyer on the phone on Wednesday, and you asked him what changes, what tweaking of the offense do you have in mind?
Well, they've got to get the ball to the perimeter. They've got to threaten the defense everywhere. Chris Leak is so far has not been able to do that in running the option. So I asked Urban, how are you going to threaten the perimeter? He says, well, it's a big part of our plan. I'd rather not discuss it right now. Well, that kind of play right there is that. Swing the back out, get him the ball outside, see if he can make somebody miss, and threaten the whole defense all the way across the field.
10th play of the drive, the opening drive of this ball game. Tukes is wide to the right. Leak has it, flips it out to Deshaun Wynn all by himself. And Wynn, first down at the 26. I'm also thinking of in their games against Tennessee, LSU, and Alabama. 2 of those losses they've had in those 3 games, 1 sustained touchdown drive.
That's right. And you can see the effects of an off week right now with Florida. They look confident. Chris Leak looks comfortable in the pocket. They've had some good running success early in the game, and Deshaun Wynn looks like he's come to play as well. And when that big guy gets going, he is a tough guy to bring down out in the open field.
And again, Billy Latsko is on the field. That's him, number 42. Lead blocker. Here's a play fake. Leak goes deep for Cornelius in the end zone. And there's a flag. 2 flags. Tim Jennings defending. I think he defended a little too aggressively.
Well, Tim Jennings knew he was beat. I mean, he had no chance other than to foul, or else it's a touchdown for Florida. It's set up by the running success, the play action pass, and they got Cornelius open in the end zone. Jennings is beat right there. See, he's in a trail position. Chris Leak puts the ball out there, and Tim Jennings has no choice but to interfere to prevent a touchdown.
Pass interference, number 23 on the defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And this is where the college rule is not as deadly for a defense as the pro rule. Pro rule, that ball's on the 1-yard line for Florida. In this case, it's just outside the 10.
Mark Richt in his 5th year, outstanding record at Georgia. Team is 49-10 under Mark Richt, and that was after a first year of 8-4. They've only allowed one team to score on the opening drive. That was Mississippi State, a field goal. Draw play. Wynn dances right, and he's down at the 11.
And I will say this. I mentioned I'm interested to see what Florida does differently to protect Chris Leak, to make him more comfortable. And they have played Billy Latsko in this series 5 times, which is more than we've probably seen him all season on the offensive side of the ball, other than short yardage and goal line. They have him in, they have Tate Casey in, a lot more tighter formations mixing in with the spread option look.
Billy Latsko, who was the starting fullback a year ago, went to linebacker, and then early in this season back into the offense. He's on the bench right now, 2nd down and 9. Florida has not been that effective inside the 20 this season. Here's the handoff to Wynn. They are this time.
Wow,
nice tackle by Greg Blue.
When he hits you, you go backwards, even if you're a 235-pound running back. I mean, that is an impressive tackle by a safety. This looked for sure like Deshaun Wynn was going to score. He had full momentum, and Greg Blue hits him, and immediately he goes backwards the other way.
Looked like bumper cars.
That's 215 hitting 230 and 215-1.
And they will bring the chain out to see if, despite going the opposite direction, he got the first down.
That was a good call, though, because Georgia was in a 2-deep safety look. They were outnumbered in the box. That says you've got to run the ball. And they did get a good run, but it was a great hit by Greg Blue, preventing the touchdown.
Now Casey and Latsko come back on the field. Florida, a perfect 3 of 3 on 3rd downs during this drive. Third and inches, scoreless first quarter. Well, we mentioned Florida's offensive problems. Georgia has not been that adept defending inside the 20. Latsko in motion, now back to the right. Play fake. Leak. He'll tuck it and run. Touchdown. Great start if you're a Florida fan.
Wow. Great start if you're Chris Leak, too. When you go into a bye week after a loss, it is difficult. It takes a few days to get that sour taste out of your mouth. But Chris Leak is off to an excellent start.
Extra point from Hetland is up and good. 80-yard drive. First team to score a touchdown against Georgia on the opening drive this season, and it came on the feet of Chris Leak. Gators lead 7-6.
The new, intimidating Mitsubishi Raider. Available 230 horse V8 and the most towing capacity in its class. Mitsubishi, driven to thrill. And right now, there's only one truck where gas comes standard. Get a 2006 Raider and get a year's worth of gas on us.
It's a comfortable feeling knowing your annuity from Prudential can bring you a check every month for the life of your retirement. Prudential Financial, growing and protecting your wealth for retirement.
Sonic Blast, made with Oreo cookies. Indulge in the classic taste of America's favorite Oreo cookies blended into a creamy Sonic Blast. It's everyone's favorite cookie, served up Sonic style. And now, swipe your card from your car, only at Sonic.
Built strong. Built comfortable. Built right. Wrangler 5-star premium denim jeans. Wrangler, real, comfortable jeans.
Murder on the top floor and schoolgirl suspects.
I don't date guys younger than my dad.
Viagra. He was being all that he could be.
A new CSI New York Wednesday.
Time now for our playbook presented by the Hartford. Let's take a look at Florida's touchdown. Chris Leak has got two options here. The wide receiver going to the corner, the fullback going close. He comes out on the roll. He's going to look deep to short, but he's going to see at this point nobody is open. Both receivers are gone. He realizes my best chance to score is to run it. He takes it in wisely, goes over the top for the touchdown, and Chris Leak off to an outstanding start, as well as this much maligned Florida offense.
Joe Tarashinsky had to wait 6 minutes, but finally it will be his turn on the stage. He's moments away from his first start. Now I'm thinking back to that long fourth quarter drive we saw in this Florida-Tennessee game that Chris Leak led. It secured the victory over Tennessee. This is the best drive they've had since that one.
Yeah. I mean, you know, he played well in the Kentucky game, but you've got to kind of throw that one out because against the better competition, you're right, that's the best one.
This is Tyson Browning, number 31, and he is driven down at the 21-yard line. Joe Tarashinsky III is now going to play as a starter for the first time for Georgia. For more, here's Tracy.
Thanks, guys. As you mentioned earlier, Joe Tarashinsky is fully aware of what this Georgia-Florida rivalry is all about. Let's just say he was destined to play in this game. Take a look at this picture that hangs in his bedroom at home. It's of a young Georgia fan clutching a football and dreaming of one day playing quarterback against, of all teams, the Gators. Joe's dad gave him the picture when he was just 8 years old and said to him, maybe one day you'll play in this game.
And he is doing so right now. Play fake, goes deep. He's got his tight end who drops the ball. Martrez Milner had 2 yards on the defender, Reggie Nelson. It would have been a huge start.
And how about Mark Richt? Everybody's saying, well, he'll probably be conservative today with the new quarterback. Martrez Milner's right here. He's going to be the primary receiver after they fake the reverse. And you give Joe Tarashinsky a chance to make a big throw right away. And Milner, who did not play last week with a shoulder injury, not able to make the catch.
Second down and 10, backs in the eye. Hand off right side, Thomas Brown cuts it up, gets 1 yard. Joe Tarashinsky III, last time he started a game, December 8th, 2001, when he was a senior quarterback at Athens Academy, and they lost to Clinch County in the Class A quarterfinals in Georgia high school football. Born and raised in Athens, his dad, Joe Jr., is on the staff, actually on the sideline. His father, grandfather, Joe Sr., watching at his home in Bethesda, Maryland.
Third down and 8. This is where Florida's defense is extremely good.
Blitz, screen pass, right side. Dangerous for Thomas Brown because Jarvis Herring got there about the time the ball got there.
When Florida's defense gets you in 3rd and 7 or more, they have been devastating this year. They bring pressure at the young quarterback. Tarashinsky not a clear throwing lane to throw that screen, and Jarvis Herring right there. Even if the ball's caught, it's going to be a loss of yardage play.
That will bring on Gordon Ely Kelso, the junior who likewise is from Athens. On 4th and 8, he's had a very effective year. 16 punts inside the 20, and only 10 have been returned by oppositions this year, by the opposition.
It's been one of the real strengths of this Georgia team is their special teams and how they've played field position.
Vernell Brown is back. This is a good punt. Chases Brown back to the 30-yard line. He's got a little room. Dances out of a tackle. Now he's got a lot of room. And the first special teams play in favor of the Gators.
And this is a team coming into the game 103rd in the nation in punt returns, averaging only 5 yards per punt return before that one. But because it was a low driving kick, Vernell Brown was able to catch it with a lot of space. He made the first guy miss, and then there was no white jerseys close to him because the kick did not have very good hang time. Florida, a huge return and great field position again.
Tell me you didn't invite him.
Great taste, great times.
Are oil companies thinking ahead?
Everything is set up to run on oil, but it's going to run out. And I really can't fathom that the brains that are running these multi-billion-dollar corporations are not thinking like, where are we going next, guys, you know?
I'm the same as you. I got a few mutual funds, make an occasional trade, but not exactly Mr. Wall Street, you know? So I see these TV commercials offering like, I don't know, $7 a trade, which sounds great, right? Except when I go to sign up, $7 a trade is if you're making like, I don't know, a gazillion trades a year. Like I don't have anything else to do. Honey, okay.
Monday on The Late Show, don't miss Woody Harrelson, plus Dave's carving pumpkins.
This hammering is fun.
And later this week, Dave's all new with Bruce Willis and Billy Crystal.
Single header tomorrow, the NFL on CBS. Jacksonville, St. Louis, Oakland, Tennessee, or Cleveland, Houston. And many of you will see Kansas City at San Diego. Others watch Miami and New Orleans. It all begins with the NFL today with Greg, Dan Marino, Shannon, and Boomer Esiason. The NFL today, tomorrow on CBS. A 30-yard punt return, longest of the season for Vernell Brown, and Florida opens up its second possession at the 41-yard line. Here's Leak. Play fake. Still has it. Right side. Caught at the 20. Dallas Baker, third catch.
And again, this is the Chris League that Willie Martinez was afraid they might see. The Chris League that made big throws 2 years ago here as a freshman against his team. Dallas Baker isolated on DeMario Minter, a big target and a perfect throw to the sideline. High and outside for a tall receiver, impossible for Minter to defend. But Chris League is setting his feet and throwing like he's capable of throwing.
That's a gain of 21 and a first down at the 20. Up the middle we go. And a broken tackle, Deshaun Wynn down at the 2. Greg Blue finally makes the stop, but somebody missed him 10 yards further back.
Deshaun Wynn had 93 yards 2 weeks ago against a tough LSU team. Urban Meyer said he's really grown up. He's taken that job now, and he is running like a man who knows he's the man at the tailback position. Great burst and strength busting tackles.
Well, what a start for Florida. Picture perfect. And they've got a first down and goal with a 7-0 lead. Cornelius. They give it off, and a nice defensive charge at the line thwarts the effort of Deshaun Wynn. That was Darius Swain, number 98. Mark Richt.
You are really hoping, if you're Mark Richt and his staff right now, that you can hold Florida to a field goal attempt here, because you don't want to put any more pressure on Joe Tereshinski than you have to. I mean, it's already enough pressure, his first start playing in this game, but to go 2 touchdowns down midway through the first quarter, that's a lot to ask of a young quarterback.
Latsko and Wynn, along with Tate Casey. And this is Billy Latsko, number 42. Play fake. Leak, deep. Casey, touchdown. That is Tate Casey's first touchdown of this season. He had 4 a year ago. Chris Leak may be emerging from the nightmare that has been the last 3 weeks. Extra point by Chris Hetland is up and through.
Well, this is a similar play to the one Chris Leak ran in. It's 2 guys. Tate Casey is going to the back of the end zone. Right here, we're going to the front corner of the end zone. So you kind of get a high-low on the defense. Latsko comes out to the front. Tate Casey in the back of the end zone, and this time Chris Leak says, I've got enough room to stick it in there for the throw, and 2 touchdowns early for the Florida Gator offense.
6:09 to go in the first. It's already 14-0 Florida.
Trust. It's everything. Nobody hands out trust. Talent is one thing. Combine talent with people you trust, and you will walk on that court with a level of respect no one can match.
Ask your financial advisor about the Hartford Mutual Funds offered by the Hartford, a company built on 194 years of trust. Request a complete prospectus with investment objectives, risks, fees, expenses, and other information to read and consider carefully before investing or sending money.
This Sonic Blast with Oreo cookies is really good.
It has been so long since I've had an Oreo.
Oh, please. I know about your little secret. You take your little cookies and you hide them in different places around the house.
I don't know what you're talking about.
In the coffee can, under the couch, behind the fern.
Okay, stop right there. You be careful, little man. You have no idea how deep this thing goes.
Sonic Blast made with Oreo cookies. The taste of America's favorite Oreo cookies, blended into a creamy Sonic Blast. And now, swipe your card from your car, only at Sonic.
There's a change taking place, a wave of self-expression, and it's being driven by people with a vision to live life, not by some rule book, but on their own terms. Star Motorcycles. We build it. You make it your own. Exclusively at your Yamaha dealer.
Depression can be a serious medical illness that can harm your health and leave you feeling hopeless. But there are treatment options. Find out more. CBS Cares.
Tim Brando back in New York after Dwayne Jarrett had scored on a touchdown pass from Matt Leinart. Washington State's Jerome Harrison on the draw, 13 yards. The extra point would be blocked by Lawrence Jackson at 7-6 USC. Washington State hanging in there, though. Let's get back to Jacksonville.
All right, thank you, Tim. On the left, Joe Tereshinski in his dreams last night. I don't think he envisioned being down 14-0 when he was going to get his fourth snap. On the right, the nightmare you alluded to may be ending.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a great start for Chris Lee. And you got to feel good for the guy because he was a great quarterback last year. He's had some struggles this year, but super start so far.
Jonathan Phillips kicks it off, taken by Tyson Browning. And he's filled at the 25-yard line. So Joe Tereshinski III comes on for the second set in the game. Let's take a look at the offense that surrounds Joe Tereshinski. Up front, Inman, his roommate, Nick Jones, Tanner, Gene Gillis, and Dennis Rowland. Thomas Brown in the backfield, the fullback Sutherland, Sean Bailey, Brian McClendon, the wideouts, and Leonard Pope is a load at tight end.
And I think Tereshinski needs to find his tight ends, and they need to throw well on early downs against this defense.
They keep this one on the ground and lose a couple of yards. Defensively for Florida, there's Ray McDonald. Injured a knee against Tennessee. He's out there right now. Cohen, Thomas, Harris, and Mincy the starters. McCullough, Seiler, Everett the linebackers. And a change in the secondary where Reggie Nelson is opening at strong safety. He replaces Kyle Jackson.
Ray McDonald and Joe Cohen are going to alternate series. Try to keep them both fresh in the game.
There's a running play up the middle. Danny Ware, number 28, gets a bunch back. It'll leave Georgia facing a third down and approximately 4. DJ Shockley injured a knee last week in the win over Arkansas. He is expected back. They've got a bye week after this week, and then they're at home against Auburn. And DJ Shockley, you talked to him before the game. He's hurting.
He said it was just killing him not to play. He's feeling pretty good physically.
Right. 3rd and 3.
Much better situation on third down for Tereshinski. 3rd and 3. Again, what you don't want is 3rd and 7+ against this Florida defense.
Out of the spread. 4-man Florida rush, batted back. That's Jarvis Moss, number 94.
Boy, has he been coming on. Jarvis Moss, 3 sacks against LSU 2 weeks ago. He's a rangy guy at 6'6", 225 pounds. Here he is right here. He's just going to come in unblocked and get his hands right up in the air. Nobody picks him up. A back tried, but you got to get his legs cut out from under him. Don't let him get that large frame up in the passing lane.
Well, it's early. Gordon Neely-Kelso to punt for the second time. Last one was returned 30 yards. He sails this one again. Burnell with room to return from the 20. Goes right. Flag is down. Brown is out of bounds at the 40. That's a 21-yard return. Mike Gilliam with the tackle. Normally this will go against.
Wait a minute, there's a turnover right on the sideline. Now, there is a flag down too, but they just called a fumble, turning the ball over to Georgia.
I believe that was Joe Tereshinski Jr. who was signaling that the ball had been turned over.
Well, one of his roles is to keep guys fired up down there on the sideline, and he was right in the mix there. There's Joe.
Joe Jr., middle of the three generations.
Holding during the return, number 25. That penalty is declined. We had a fumble, recovery by Georgia, first down.
Let's look from the end zone.
Well, we mentioned the problems that Florida has had in punt return. Vernell Brown had a great one the first time, 30 yards. Oh, boy, that looked like he was down before the ball came out. I mean, the ball definitely came out on the sideline, but was he down first? That's the question.
Look at the knee.
Oh, he's down. They've got to review this.
Well, all plays reviewed.
The previous play is under review.
Joe Delaney is the replay official.
Now, the call on the field is that it was a fumble, and so there has to be indisputable evidence to overturn the call. But from what we just saw, that looks pretty indisputable that he was down. Looked like he just fell and tripped, and then the ball came out very late.
Take a look at it, Todd, in regular speed from a low angle. I was chatting.
This is the one we need to see right here. If the knee was down before the ball came out. Knee down. Oh, yeah. He was down before the ball came out. He looked like he was losing control a little bit.
Well, there have been 8 plays coming into this weekend. 8 plays overturned in the SEC this year.
Now, here's a question. Here's a question that I have. If they overturn this call and say the ball belongs to Florida, does Georgia then have the chance to go back and take the penalty that they declined?
I would think so.
I would think so,
too. Referee is Thomas Ritter. Again, the replay official is Joe Delaney.
Boy, Mark Richt is just wishing he could give Joe Tereshinski the ball right now in this position.
After video review evidence shows that the runner was down prior to the fumble. First down, we will penalize 10 yards from the 40-yard line. It'll be first down.
And there's the answer to your question. They do take the penalty, but I do believe replay worked here.
Absolutely, it worked. I mean, it was a bang-bang play, but he went down, his knee was on the ground, and then the ball came out. And the officials worked together with the guys up in the booth, and they got it right.
There's the knee and the fumble. And Joe Delaney deserves credit as the replay official. Time call. We'll be right back.
Let's see, we got Vonage a couple of months ago. It was easy to install. I mean, I'm not really technical at all, and I did it myself. Look, so I just used our old phone, and it costs less too. It's just $24.99 a month, and that includes voicemail, call waiting, caller ID, and a lot more at no extra charge. So we just love it.
We're not out to change the world, just the way you talk to it. Sign up now and get your first month free. Call 1-800-930-4VON. High-speed internet connection required.
For all the years of dedication, nights gone without sleep, and lives you've touched, we exist to serve you. TIAA CREF, helping to build the financial portfolios of those in the academic, medical, cultural, and research fields. Visit us online to find out how we can serve you. TIAA CREF, financial services for the greater good.
The new, intimidating Mitsubishi Raider. Available 230 horse V8 and the most towing capacity in its class. Mitsubishi, driven to thrill. And right now, there's only one truck where gas comes standard. Get a 2006 Raider and get a year's worth of gas on us.
Back at Alltel Stadium in Jacksonville, Florida, 14-0, and your keys.
Well, I think, first of all, for Florida, protection and poise. They've got to do a better job of protecting Chris, and then he has to believe it and trust it. Defensively, overload the box, a lot of twisting and stunning, pressure the young quarterback, make him beat him by throwing, and win the turnover battle and field position with their special teams. And so far, they have done all of that. And what we're seeing with the Florida offense right now is Urban Meyer and Dan Mullen, what they did in the off week is change this offense a little bit to make Chris Leak more comfortable.
This is Chad Jackson in motion. The handoff, left side, nice tackle.
Well, now let's take a look at our tools for success presented by the Home Depot. The last touchdown drive, Chris Leak rolled out, hit Dallas Baker with a big throw. And then the running game has been very solid today. They've got the defense spread out, back on their heels a little bit. Deshaun Wynn running strong. And then another rollout. He was 3 for 3 throwing when he rolled out of the pocket. They also used a lot of two-back offense, a lot of things to make Chris Leak more comfortable in this offense and the 14-0 lead.
Marcus Manson, the redshirt freshman, is in. Here's Leak, flips it, caught at the 35. Catch made by Dallas Baker. Let's go back to the studio for a game-changing performance powered by Pontiac.
All right, Vern. Oklahoma gets its first win in Lincoln since 1987. Here, Clint Ingram is going to register the Sooners' 9th quarterback sack of the day. And, by the way, this is the first time since 1961 neither of these teams ranked, Vern. Back to you.
You know, I cannot remember a time when the Oklahoma-Nebraska game was so under the radar.
How about 9 sacks in a game? I mean, there were years when Nebraska went a whole season without giving up 9 sacks. Of course, they never threw.
3rd and 4, timeout. Chris Leak saw the play clock winding down, signals time, and stops the clock with 3 minutes and 3 seconds to go in the opening quarter. Florida, with its 3rd possession, they scored 2 touchdowns on each of the first 2.
On Tuesday, prepare yourself for the sequel to the best-selling Star Wars game of all time. Star Wars Battlefront 2, the game that lets you fight all the classic battles any way you want, now lets you fight as a Jedi. Fight on all new planets. And for the first time ever, fight in space. Star Wars Battlefront 2, on Tuesday, you fight again. Rated T for teen.
The new Dymo Label Writer 400 Turbo. No more ink cartridges or jammed label sheets. Just select, click, and print perfect labels from your PC or Mac. It's so easy to use, you'll never want to print labels any other way. For envelopes, packages, files, people, and more. With Dymo, the easier, the better.
If you were the profiler, could you catch this criminal? The episode that puts you inside the mind of a killer. Criminal Minds, Wednesday.
Back in Jacksonville, watch an exclusive SEC college football highlight show and get complete coverage from all of today's action. Check it out tonight on CBSSportsline.com. 3rd and 4, Gators with a 14-0 lead. The ball at their 36.
Big play for the Georgia defense here. If they get a stop, they can get their offense some decent field position.
Wynn out of the backfield. Leak throws it for Wynn, and it's overthrown. That is the 2nd time in this quarter that Chris Leak has had the ball sailed.
And the first 3rd down that Florida has not converted. One of the reasons they've been good on 3rd down so far today, manageable yardage needed. The average yards needed 3.5 yards. So that time just an overthrow by Chris Leak prevented him from converting another one.
Eric Wilbur on the punt for the first time. Thomas Flowers, return specialist at the 25. He had a 54-yard touchdown return to cinch the win at Tennessee. Wilbur nails it. Fair catch.
Beautiful.
That was a gorgeous catch. 49-yard punt. Well, DJ Shockley, prior to the game, leaning down, giving some words of encouragement to Joe Tereshinski. That was in pregame drills. And then after the first drive, Tereshinski, they were 3 and out as Martrez Milner missed a big catch, and there was Shockley again.
He's a very visible leader on this team. I mean, there's no question who the leader of this football team is. Not just the offense, but the whole team. DJ Shockley, a senior. He's here. Kedrick Golston, an injured defensive starter, one of the leaders, also here. Both guys count against the 70-man roster for Georgia.
Thomas Brown heading left into the secondary, tackled as he gets near the 25-yard line, and the tackle made by Reggie Nelson. Well, DJ Shockley, Todd, admired as much for his loyalty to this team because he sat behind David Green for 4 years. And David Green, ironically enough, now third-string quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks, is here today.
I want to go back and explain that about the 70-man. Because both teams treat this as an away game, they're only allowed to dress and bring 70 players. And normally you don't bring injured guys, but Golston and Shockley are too valuable to leave at home.
On second down, the first down for the Bulldogs. Thomas Brown out across the 25.
Big first down for Georgia. They've got to get a little momentum, get a little confidence for Joe T. And the best way to do it is run behind this big offensive line. Max Gene Gillis is maybe the best offensive guard in college football. Powerful guy up there.
Well, there are the two leaders defensively and offensively. That's Kedrick Golston. There is DJ Shockley, Donald Shockley Jr. First down and 10. High formation this time for the Bulldogs. Brandon Sutherland will give it off to the short man. And it gives us a chance to go back to New York. Once again, let's check in with Tim Brando.
All right, Vern. Penn State doesn't need to get caught looking ahead to Wisconsin next week, and they turned it over, and that led to this little option series run by Curtis Painter. Purdue trying to get off the schneid in October. They have the lead in Happy Valley. Vern?
Well, the demeanor of my colleague has not improved watching that. There are the current Big Ten standings. It is a wild year up there.
It sure is.
Second down and 9. Martrez Milner is a tight end. That's him in motion. Cross, Brown. Blocker in front. That's Sutherland. And Brandon Sutherland, who is, you got Brown and Sutherland, two of the strongest guys on the team.
Very powerful. That's the misconception about Thomas Brown. Because he's small in stature, 5'8", 183, you think he's just a scat back. But he is a powerful running back. And Sutherland, as a freshman, a very powerful guy leading the way. But Thomas Brown breaks a lot of tackles because pound for pound, maybe the strongest guy on the Georgia football team.
Final 30 seconds, 3rd and 1.
Good situation for Georgia on 3rd down. They really need to avoid those longer yardage situations. Use that big offensive line and run for a first down here.
And they have a trailing wind in this quarter. That advantage will end shortly. That's going to be close, but it appears it's enough to move the chain as Sutherland gets a rare carry. That's only his 10th of the year.
We talk about keys for Georgia. Number one, they've got to avoid 3rd and 7+. That was 3rd and 1, and they converted. Secondly, Joe T's got to look for those tight ends. He's going to have to make some throws against man coverage. The tight ends are the best matchups. And then defensively, they have to find ways to pressure Chris Leak. They have not done that in the first quarter so far when Florida's had the ball.
That's the end of the first quarter. The Florida Gators leading 14-0. We'll return to Jacksonville after this message and this word from your local station.
It's nice chili cheese fries there. You want to maybe work a little trade action?
Oh, sure.
3 rings and half of what you have left before you eat any more. And an option on ketchup.
An option on ketchup?
An option on ketchup.
Why would I not have ketchup?
The ketchup will come on the back end.
I want a cherry limeade then as well.
Wow. For that offer, I hope you're not insulted.
Game day food. Nothing goes better with sports than Sonic's Chili Cheese Tots. Great for pre-game, post-game, pre-post-game, and post-post-game game. It's not just good, it's Sonic good.
New Red Zone After Hours Body Wash from Old Spice.
I'm Dale Earnhardt Jr. Welcome to a new generation of Wrangler.
New fits. New comfort. New styles. Wrangler Jeans Company. A new generation of Wrangler. New fits, new comfort, new styles.
Saving time and money is what Gator Airport is all about, no matter where you're going or where you're coming from. Gator Airport is your airport with 41 nonstop flights daily to 11 locations. 5 minutes from downtown Charleston. Competitive low airfares. Garage or meter parking. Save time, save money. Take off from Gator Airport, exit 99 off I-64 in Charleston.
At Don Hall GM Supercenter, we want all this GMS pricing stuff to stop. I mean, it's GMS this and GMS that. Come on, stop the nonsense. Everybody is doing it. So at Don Hall, we are stepping it up a notch. We want to introduce DHP. That's right, Don Hall pricing. If you think GMS pricing is good, you haven't seen anything yet. No hype, no gimmicks, just the best price on new cars and trucks, period. So why shop where everybody has the same price? Get to Don Hall GM Supercenter in Ashland today. Don Hall GM Supercenter, truly an American revolution.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
When skies are gray, come home to St. Mary's.
Watch Dr. Phil Monday at 5 on 13.
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
Well, the Dogs haven't been let out as of yet. We begin the second quarter, and the Dogs trail the Gators 14-0 in Jacksonville. First down and 10, Joe Tereshinski, the third. Hand off, they'll sweep it to the left side. Nice play by this defensive unit, Jeremy Mincy, and there's Brandon Seiler. I would think, Todd, a very important series now offensively for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, they got a couple first downs, so they got a little bit of momentum. They've withstood this initial flurry in the first quarter by Florida. But I think they've got to do some things. We talked about making Chris Leak comfortable. They've got to make Joe Tereshinski comfortable. And the way they can do that, run the football with some success, throw on early downs with play action, and look to work the ball to those tight ends. That's their best matchups, I think, on the field.
No gain on the last play, second down and 10. Here's Sutherland leading the play around the right side. Burnell Brown missed the tackle, and Thomas Brown moves out near the 47-yard line.
Again, you see the strength of Thomas Brown. And that play looked like it might be a 1 or 2 yard gain, but his ability to shake off an arm tackle and get it up closer to the sticks makes another manageable third down situation.
3rd and 3. Thomas Brown, 7 carries so far. Georgia has kept it conservative. Joe Tereshinski, 22 years of age, born and raised in Athens, first start ever. Tereshinski, he's got it into the secondary. How about that?
And I'll guarantee you Florida was not expecting that with DJ Shockley in street clothes on the sideline. With Shockley in the offense, you've got to be concerned about quarterback runs. Excellent call by Mark Richt. But again, it's 3rd down and short, so they can run the ball. And Tereshinski shows he's a little better runner than people might think. A little more athletic at that quarterback position. Really caught the Florida defense unaware. And a nice conversion. Thomas Brown did a nice job of lead blocking on that play for his quarterback.
There's his dad, Joe Tereshinski Jr.
Yes, he says during the offense, he watches the offensive line. I got to believe he's peeking at his son.
That would look like it might have been tipped. Jeremy Mincy, I think, got a paw on that, and it gives us a moment to go back to New York. Once again, here's Tim Brandon.
Something to remember, fellas. Virginia Tech is sitting at home hoping that Miami and Florida State keep winning, and Florida State gets out early on Maryland. This is Willie Reed, 60 yards for a touchdown. Sam Hollenbach isn't a quarterback for Maryland, but they trail 14-0. Vern?
All right, thank you, Tim. 14-0 here as well.
This is a big play right here. 2nd down and 10. They can't afford to be 3rd and 10. They've only thrown it once.
Here's Tereshinski back. Under some trouble. Wings it. Caught it! Oh, boy, off his back foot. And he finds Leonard Pope, the tight end.
See, the reason you've got to use these tight ends is because they're extremely talented players, Pope and Milner. They're both big, so that's big targets. That means a bigger margin of air on a throw. Tereshinski flushed out of the pocket off his back foot, wings it outside, and he knows he's got this big guy with the huge wingspan at 6'7" to snag the football. But they're hard to match up with a safety or linebacker because they're big and they're fast.
Pope had 2 touchdowns in the win last year, a 31-24 victory. And here's the handoff to Thomas Brown. They try to sweep to the right, pick up maybe a yard. This sequence has gone rhythmically, and Florida has owned Georgia the last 15 years. 13 of 15 wins.
Game 2, 2nd and 8.
Urban Meyer brought his team up here. They stayed down at Ponte Vedra, and he actually brought the team. They weren't scheduled to walk through, and he said he wanted to he's never been at this game before. He wanted to see the stadium, see if the hash marks were adjusted for the college game, and have his players come over the bridge and see the stadium. So they did do a walkthrough yesterday.
Numbers also, where they put the numbers, that affects alignment of wide receivers.
Deep handoff to Brown. Boy, defense against the run has been very superb. Stephen Harris with the tackle there, number 93.
Brown with the carry down the 13-yard line.
You mentioned earlier how good this Florida defense is, 3rd and long.
And that's the cutoff. 3rd and 1 to 6, their opponents have done a nice job, but when they get you in 7+, and this is 3rd and 7 right here, I mean 13% conversion, that's outstanding team defense. They combine pressure with the ability to cover man-to-man.
Double tight end set and 2 men in the backfield. Milner comes up on the line. Timeout. Florida had to use one. Now Georgia does the same. 12:28 to go, first half. Chris Leak has one of the 2 Florida touchdowns. Tate Casey the other.
I can be soft sometimes, dramatic other times, thrifty all the time.
You can at the Home Depot. Walk through our lighting and ceiling fan showroom. You'll find an endless selection of unique designs by Hampton Bay, as well as the know-how to make your new look come together. And with 20 to 30% off select styles, now is the time to shed a new light on your decor.
At the Home Depot, you can do it, we can help.
Game day food. Nothing goes better with sports than Sonic. Like our chili cheese fries. Hot, fresh, and made to order. The official food of armchair quarterbacks. It's not just good, it's Sonic good.
College life rocks. But for the students of Tate University, college is gonna bite. Vampire Pass, a world premiere movie, CBS tomorrow, 9/8 Central.
80,000 jammed into Alltel Stadium, half dressed in red and black, half dressed in orange and blue. Part of the excitement of this game is that no matter what happens, half the crowd is happy.
It's always noisy.
Vern Lundquist, Todd Blackledge, Tracy Wolfson, 14-0. This is the 13th play of this Georgia drive. They're down by 2 touchdowns, 3rd and 7. Play fake. Tereshinski, good coverage in the end zone, and it was almost intercepted by D. Webb. It'll be 4th down.
Now, D. Webb is the top cover guy for this Gator defense. He's on Massaquoi, who is just a true freshman. And he is right in his hip pocket. See how quickly D got his head around and his eyes? He knew exactly when the ball was coming. If he doesn't get his eyes around quickly, maybe that ball sneaks in past him. But he got his head around so quick that he made a great play on the football.
Brandon Coutu for the field goal. He's 16 of 19 for the year. This from 31 yards out. Tricky breeze, but he knocks it through. So Georgia gets on the board their first impressive offensive set of this ball game. Coutu from 31.
Pretty conservative play on third down. Fake play action. Go against their best corner. Incomplete, but they did get 3 points out of it.
Next stop for the teams, Costa Rica.
This is awesome!
A new Amazing Race Tuesday.
At Don Hall GM Supercenter, we want all this GMS pricing stuff to stop. I mean, it's GMS this and GMS that. Come on, stop the nonsense. Everybody is doing it. So at Don Hall, we are stepping it up a notch. We want to introduce DHP. That's right, Don Hall pricing. If you think GMS pricing is good, you haven't seen anything yet. No hype, no gimmicks, just the best price on new cars and trucks, period. So why shop where everybody has the same price? Get to Don Hall GM Supercenter in Ashland today. Don Hall GM Supercenter, truly an American revolution.
Have you heard the news about a great place to play? Everybody's talking about it. Tri-State. Come for the fun.
Now more than ever, Tri-State Racetrack and Gaming Center is your place to play. Let the good times roll in our new Mardi Gras edition. Hot new slots, great restaurants, live music, and our state-of-the-art simulcast area where you can wager on races across the country every day. Come play at Tri-State Racetrack and Gaming Center today.
So come for the fun. Tri-State.
Racetrack and Gaming Center, West Virginia, wild and wonderful.
Clearance time at your Toyota dealer continues with great deals on remaining 05s. Save on 271 horsepower V8 Tundras, all capable of around 450 highway miles per tank full. Now with first time ever $3,000 cash back from Toyota. Pick a rugged 05 V8 4Runner that gets around 400 highway miles per tank full with $3,000 cash back. Don't miss this Toyota clearance event.
This is it.
Toyota, now that's moving you forward.
This is it.
The Storm Tracker 13 weather team, the most accurate forecast in the Charleston-Huntington area.
14-3 Florida here in the second quarter. What's it like being a true freshman wide receiver playing in the SEC? Well, this is a little wake-up call from the new free safety for Florida, Reggie Nelson, and you wonder, why is Nelson playing free safety as Massaquoi gets worked on? He is an impact player. 4 sacks on the season. He only played 28 out of the 71 defensive snaps against LSU 2 weeks ago, and he's too good of a player to not have on the field all the time. So they moved him in at free safety. He played safety last year at Coffeyville, so it's not that unusual for him to be in there. He is a dynamic player.
14-play drive gets Georgia on the board. Here's Coutu with the kick, and it's taken by Marcus Manson. Comes right. Struggles for the last 5 yards and is tackled by Trey Battle. Let's go back once again to our New York studios. Here's Tim Brenda.
Vern, Todd, as you both know, it doesn't take long for USC to begin to light it up. Matt Leinart, 24 yards to Steve Smith for a touchdown. 4 possessions, 4 touchdowns, but the Trojans defense surrendered a nice run from Harrison, and Washington State's on the 20 as they open the second at the Coliseum.
Yeah, they'll pop 50 on them today.
You just can't defend them. I mean, if you say we're going to load up the box and stop the run, then Matt Leinart and those wide receivers will kill you. If you cover the pass, you got Reggie Bush and Lendale White to contend with.
First down and 10. Here's Leak with a handoff right side to Sean Wynn. Picks up a couple near the 25-yard line. Jeff Owens, number 95, part of the tackle.
Jeff Owens is a young guy who's really coming along, a true freshman out of Sunrise, Florida. Georgia has 9 guys from the state of Florida on their team. Owens one of them. They've got 56 guys from the state of Georgia. Obviously, that's their primary recruiting base, but those 9 from Florida represent the most of any other state where they recruit players from.
And on the other side of the coin, Florida has 7 players from Georgia. So it is a border battle here in Jacksonville. Here's Leak. Got a man wide. It's Dallas Baker's 4th catch already.
And Georgia must find a way to create some pressure on Chris Leak because he is way too comfortable right now. He has not been hit one time in the game. No sacks, no pressures, no hits. And he's able to set his feet, throw with accuracy outside. And if Georgia doesn't find a way to create pressure on him, then he will do this the whole game. Because he's past what's happened in Baton Rouge in those last couple weeks. He's back on a roll now.
He's 8 of 11 for 61 yards. They'll hand it off. Wynn, weaving, caught at the 36-yard line. But part of the success that Alabama and LSU had was in hitting Chris Leak on almost every play.
Yeah, absolutely. And they frustrated him, and they rattled him, and then he started feeling pressure when there really wasn't even pressure there. Now this is not a good sign for Florida. Dallas Baker is limping off the field. He's been the only healthy receiver through the whole season, and he is on the sideline right now. Chad Jackson has been bothered by some injuries. Jamel Cornelius just now healthy with an ankle. They can ill afford to lose that one.
They lost Andre Caldwell in the very first game we saw them play against Tennessee with a broken leg out for the year. 2nd down. So Kenneth Tukes is on. And here's Wynn, big opening. It's Marcus Manson instead of Wynn. And that is a 1st down. It was 2, not 21. And he picks up 1, 2, 12. A lot of numbers.
See, the difference between this Georgia defense and the Tennessee defense and the LSU defense is they're not as powerful up front. And in terms of running defense, they're 5th in the league, giving up 110 yards a game. And Florida running the football better against this Georgia defense, much better than they did against Tennessee, LSU, or Alabama.
That was a 12-yard gain for Manson. And here he comes to the right side with just, you can't help but notice how obvious Billy Latsko is in this offensive scheme, and we haven't seen him much this year.
And Tate Casey and Billy Latsko, 14 times they've had 2 backs in the backfield, so they have changed their philosophy during that off week to, then it's also for the running game to take pressure off Chris Leak, but also you've got those guys in when you do pass, you have better pass protection. And so the tight end and the 2 backs has been a big change in the Florida offense. 0 option plays also in the game so far.
2nd down and 6. And 1 protector is back. That's Manson. This is Kenneth Tukes, number 9, in motion. They hand it to Manson. Contact at the line. He surges inside the 45 and is down near the 43. Now let's take another look at the Dallas Baker injury, Todd.
Well, you can see him. He's lead blocking right here, number 81, and he's just going to kind of get caught up in the mess here. As Deshaun Wynn is working to the sideline, he gets rolled up from behind and comes off the field hobbling.
Casey and Latsko, as you look at the replay, they hurry on now. 3rd and 2 officially. Dallas Baker still getting some medical attention on the bench.
Long time in the huddle here, down to 8 seconds on the play clock for Chris Leak.
And they go under center on 3rd and 2. Play action. Leak looks deep, fires it, diving try at the 28.
He's got to run now.
Yep.
I mean, he started to run, it looked like, and then he thought, wait a minute, I might be able to slip this one in for a bigger gain. But at that point, 3rd and 1, he's got to think, we've got them on their heels a little bit. Let me run for the 1st down, and then let's keep this drive going. Watch as Chris Leak comes out. Again, he's got 1 here, he's got 1 here, he's got 1 here. Nobody is really wide open, and he could have easily run for the 1st down, but he chose to throw instead.
Well, they will go for it on 4th down. The wind is, for the moment, swirling. It's not definitively behind Florida. 4th and 2 officially. It's a very short 2 yards.
And Manson's in instead of Wynn.
Motion in the line. Georgia gets set. Here's the change from Chris Leak.
They didn't get the play off. I'm not sure they were going to run a play. It didn't look like they were even going to run a play. Urban Meyer going to play field position here. He's told us that from the very beginning of the season. We're going to be a field position team.
That's Steve Rissler, number 79. Tony Taylor, who missed the last 3 games, the middle linebacker for the Georgia Bulldogs.
Dead ball. Delay game, number 12 on the offense, 5 yards, remains 4th down.
Now, some of the Florida fans are probably saying, hey, we've run the ball well, let's go for it. But you've got a first-time starting quarterback on the other side. Let's let Eric Wilbur try to pin them down and make them go 90 yards or more against our defense. That's good percentage football as long as Wilbur does his job here.
Eric Wilbur got off to a slow start for the Gators this year, but has come on in the last 3 games. This one high and a fair catch called. It is not taken. Little 9-iron action on that ball and comes backwards. 17-yard line. 7 minutes, 58 seconds to go, first half. 14-3, Gators.
The marriage was built to last.
You are so awesome.
But the house was built too small.
This is kind of awesome.
How long are we here?
For 1 year, sparks will fly.
This is not awesome.
I just want to make an omelet.
Oh, are you kidding me?
The drama will be real, but it won't save you any money on car insurance.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Why haven't you called Geico?
Now is the best time to add a member of your family tree to ours with Family Talk from Singular. And join America's largest calling community with unlimited calling to other Singular customers.
Hey, what's going on?
Over 51 million of them. Add a line for just $9.99 and get exclusive phones like the Black Razor and Rocker with iTunes. Singular, raising the bar.
Tuesday, bring home the year's biggest movie on DVD, Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Critics rave. It's riveting, breathtaking, and emotionally powerful.
You were the chosen one!
Buy Star Wars Episode 3 on DVD Tuesday.
Want to learn about all the new TVs? Come to Circuit City's Home Entertainment Made Simple event. We'll guide you through all the latest HD TV technology. Plus, get no interest until 2008 on all TVs and home audio, $4.99 and up. This Sunday from 1 to 6 at Circuit City.
CBS is first on the field, 10 minutes before kickoff for live reports on injuries, conditions, and final game analysis. It's your ultimate last-second source, only on CBS.
Welcome back to Jacksonville. Florida wide receiver Dallas Baker was in a lot of pain after that play. It is his right ankle. They wrapped it in ice and took him into the locker room on crutches, which usually means x-rays. Any more information, we'll bring it to you.
All right, thank you, Tracy. He leaves the field as his defensive colleagues get on the field. And Craig Lumpkin is in for the first time at a running back spot. Missed all of last year with a knee injury. Here's a play fake. Tereshinski goes deep, finds it. Yeah. And there's the tight end again.
Cover 2 look by the Florida defense. They shifted out of it right at the last minute, but Tereshinski still read that his best shot was the tight end going down the middle. And when he's 6'7", see 2 safeties right here, it looks like they're going to split this way, but they actually move towards the line of scrimmage into a 1 deep safety. But he still went to Pope because he's a big target. And again, you have a greater margin for error with a big receiver.
Craig Lumpkin, the sophomore from Lithonia, Georgia, carries the ball.
Tereshinski, 2 completions, both of them to Leonard Pope.
Time now for the highly anticipated Aflac trivia question of the week. Highly anticipated. How many SEC titles has the Tereshinski family won at Georgia?
Should that be SEC title or title? Title. SEC title.
SEC titles, as in Ole Miss and John Vaught, 0 SEC titles. 2nd down and 9. Tyson Browning. There's a flip out of the backfield for Browning. That is an incomplete pass. Well, Joe Sr. had a 26-hour bus ride out of the mountains of eastern Pennsylvania to come down and roll at Georgia in 1941. He was an end. Later played with the Washington Redskins. Joe Jr., a center on the SEC champions, 74, 75, and 76. Joe the third. Now this is the immediate family Tereshinski family tree.
And once again, Joe the third in a 3rd down and long. They are 0 for 2 in this situation so far today.
There's the audible from Tereshinski. Steps up, has time, goes deep, sails on it. Intercepted. Picked off by Reggie Nelson. And Nelson is down at the 41. That one took off.
Yeah, it sure did. I was talking to Mike Bobo down on the field, the quarterback coach, and he said, you know, I know he's going to miss some throws today. I just hope it doesn't result in a turnover. Well, this time the ball really sailed on him. And you can't throw the ball high and late down the middle of the field, particularly with a ball hawk like Reggie Nelson down there.
Also a flag on the play. Nelson with his first interception of the season in this, his first start.
Sideline warning against the Florida bench. That is their first warning.
Reggie Nelson was the nickelback. He was a backup corner and was, you know, just a guy who had to get on the field more because he makes big plays. So they made him the starting free safety, and they rewarded him right away with the interception.
Long moment for Joe T. His team trails by 11.
The 320 horsepower V8 Cadillac STS. Let's dance. Breakthrough.
Hey, you're done shopping for car insurance?
Yes.
Honey, did they compare this rate to other companies?
No.
How about service?
No.
Hey, think easier. With one call to 1-800-PROGRESSIVE, a licensed professional will help you make the decision that's right for you.
Built strong. Built comfortable. Built right. Wrangler 5-star premium denim jeans. Wrangler. Real, comfortable jeans.
Upset stomach, sour stomach, heartburn, acid indigestion. New Children's Pepto, upset stomach.
New Children's Pepto. Children's Pink. It does more than you think.
Tim Brando in New York coming up with the Geico halftime report. Spencer and I will get you caught up on all of today's action, including the Crimson Tide rolling today as Brody Croyle hits his third touchdown pass, this one to DJ Hall. Auburn was also a winner. More on that at halftime. Back to Georgia and Florida.
All right, Tim, and let's quickly go down to Tracy with DJ Shotgun.
Thanks, Vern. DJ, after that interception, you went right up to Joe, patted him on the head, and what did you say to him? What kind of advice?
I'll just simply tell him, don't worry about it. You know, mistakes are going to happen throughout the game, and, I mean, you really can't concern yourself about it because things are going to happen, and just keep your head up and make sure you're leading the guys out there and make sure they're going out and playing well.
Let's just watch this play.
All right, thank you, Trace. We're back with a first down and 10 after Reggie Nelson's interception off the errant throw. Reggie Nelson from Melbourne, Florida. Spent a year at Coffeyville Junior College, had some academic problems, but qualified, and he's got 3 years to play at Florida. First and 10, Chris Leak, with Marcus Manson getting a lot of playing time and on the field right now. Flags down, and let's go back to Tracy.
Thanks, DJ. How's the leg? What's your timetable for a return?
The knee's doing really good. It's actually a little ahead of schedule, and you know, I had a long week of rehab of, you know, nothing but being in the training room. But right now it's doing really well, and you know, I'm excited to be back against Auburn.
Coach decided to take you on this trip. Normally they don't let players injured come on the road. What did that mean to you?
Oh, yeah, it meant a lot. Just being able to be out here with my teammates. You know, it's kind of hard to sit back and feel how the game is going, especially when you're watching on TV. But you know, just to be here and feel them, and just for them to see me and me to see them is huge.
Thanks a lot. Good luck in the recovery.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. False start against Florida, so it cost them 5. Here's the handoff. They try to get the 5 back, and they get 4 after the 39-yard line. It's Marcus Manson. Manson, the fastest of the 4 backs who've been used by Florida, had some fumble problems, particularly in practice, not so much during the game. So only in the last couple of weeks has he seen a lot of action.
Well, Urban Meyer and his staff, they're very much of you earn playing time by how you practice. And Marcus Manson obviously has practiced better the last few weeks, and that's why we're seeing him more in the game in today's contest.
2nd down and 12. That's Manson in motion. Wide to the left. 4-man Georgia rush. Quick flip. Right side. Flag down.
I think we're going to have an illegal formation on Florida. And again, we've got some new guys in the game. Because of the injury to Dallas Baker, we now have Kyle Morgan, a wide receiver, in there. Kenneth Tukes playing. And with a lot of this, 4 or 5 wide receiver and guys in motion, you got to make sure you have 7 on the line of scrimmage on any particular play.
Illegal shift on the offense. Moving another player that did not get set. Referee's flag. Quarterback.
Penalty on Florida Thursday on CBS. Now that the tribes have merged, can former NFL quarterback Gary Hogaboom still keep his true identity a secret? See why Survivor is TV's #1 reality show Thursday on CBS, America's most watched network. 3rd and 13. Keyston Moore, freshman running back, is in there with Marcus Manson. Low snap, which Leak controls, steps up, pulls up. Oh, what a nifty move. And he's caught by Ray Gant. Yeah. It'll be 4th down. It was almost an instinctive pirouette.
I'm not sure who he was trying to fake on it, though. I mean, it was nifty and pretty, but Ray Gant didn't buy it. And you see the athleticism not only of Chris Leak, but of Ray Gant at 6'2", 277 pounds, staying right with him and stopping him well behind the 1st down marker.
Chris Leak pulled a Baryshnikov. It's 4th and 11. And Eric Wilbur, who had a very effective punt last time out, gets the snap.
Low,
Thomas Flowers.
very low.
At the 19. And a flag down.
It's going to give Georgia poor field position again.
42-yard punt, 16 on the return. And here is Thomas Ritter. Tomorrow on CBS, see why New York Magazine calls Cold Case TV's best cop show. Don't miss the hit drama Cold Case tomorrow on CBS, America's most watched network.
Well, Georgia will start inside their 20 for the 3rd possession in a row. Joe Tereshinski not only inside his 20, but now going against the wind. That last throw that was picked off really sailed on him going in this direction. He's got to gauge that a little bit. The wind is blowing in his face right now, and it's pretty strong down there on the field.
Gusting at 19 miles an hour. 14-3 with 4:49 to go before the break. Handoff, it goes to Danny Ware, number 28. And time now for the answer to the
Aflac
trivia question of the week. And it goes the duck from left to right. And he pulls the title out. How many SEC titles has the Tereshinski family won? It's a trick question.
It is.
It is a
good one.
Question. Yes. 5. Joe Sr. watching from Bethesda in 42 and 46. Joe Jr. watching with his hands on his knees in 76. His brother Wally was a tight end on that team in 76. And Joe III, a member of the 2002 SEC championship. Here's Tereshinski, incomplete. Intended for McClendon.
And those are plays that they're going to have to connect on if they want to win this game, because it's one-on-one coverage. Florida is putting a lot of guys around the line of scrimmage to stop the run. It's man coverage. He had position and he had both hands on the ball. And that's one that Tereshinski and McClendon need to connect on. Those guys are childhood friends. McClendon's dad used to be a running back coach at Georgia when Joe T's dad was on the staff. They've known each other for a long time.
3rd and 8. Tyson Browning, Brandon Sutherland are in. 3rd down 8, an uncovered wide receiver. They get over. Now Tereshinski. Is it caught? Massaquoi.
Caught but short.
Massaquoi, who was a high school teammate of Florida quarterback Chris Leak. They played at Independence High School. Played 2 years there. Massaquoi. That is a catch, but it's short. It'll be 4th down and 3. Independence High School, they won last night. They've now won 86 in a row. 86 in a row, 46 of those with number 12. And then number 7, Joe Cox, is a redshirt freshman at Georgia. They won 31 with him, and Massaquoi in high school weared number 6. I didn't pass my English grammar test.
You say sartorial, but not where.
Great punt. Vernell Brown. And he's tackled him down at the 35.
Boy, that was a great punt. Now, we talked about Ely Kelso having an outstanding year. 53-yard punt into the wind. And he drove that right through the wind. There was an 11-yard return, but that really helped the Georgia defense, knocking that ball down there inside the 40-yard line. The good news for Georgia right now, I think, is their defense has settled down a little bit. I mean, they got shell-shocked a little bit there the first couple possessions, but they've settled down. They had a nice stop after the turnover, and they've got a little bounce back into their step defensively.
1st and 10 with a 14-3 lead, 3:08 to go. Here's a big hole. Win all the way inside the 45, chased by Greg Blue. 21 picks up 21.
Boy, this is by far the best Florida has run the football against a quality defense. This offensive line has taken a lot of heat, but they're kind of settled down now. Look at that. Look at that lane right there for Deshaun Wynn. Excellent blocking by Randy Hand. Tavares Washington, the right guard. A huge crease in the Georgia defense. They feel like they've settled the guard position. They were set at tackle. The guards is where they were having some problems, but Washington and Rissler now have settled in at the 2 guards.
And Jim Tart, who started a couple, is out of this game with an injury. Here's the handoff to Deshaun Wynn, number 21. Tart is on the sidelines in Cities. I miss him because I wanted to say his hometown, which is
Slop Choppy,
Florida. I always enjoy your dissertation on the benefits of living in Slop Choppy. 2nd and 6.
Well, this running game has not been sloppy for Florida today. Coming into the game, they'd averaged only 3.9 yards per carry. There you see 109 yards, the rush defense for Georgia. Florida already passed that, averaging nearly 7 yards a carry.
Marcus Manson back on the field. Tate Casey, here's Leak back to throw. Blitz from the linebacker. The catch made at the 25-yard line by Tate Casey. 15-yard gain.
Tate Casey only had 3 catches coming into today, right? 2 of them already in the ball game. And you can see the change, the formation and personnel changes. Tight ends, that's Casey in motion. He's going to go out to the sideline. Again, Leak not under pressure, able to set his feet and throw with accuracy. When he's comfortable and he's confident, as he is today, he doesn't miss many passes.
Demario Mitter injured on the tackle. He's given way to Paul Oliver now. Number 8 is on the field. And here's the handoff to Manson. Goes left. This time nothing doing. Will Thompson, number 58. And a reminder that Tim Brando and Spencer Tillman will get you caught up on all the scores and highlights of a busy day in college football on the Geico Halftime Report.
Tell you what, I'm really impressed with what Urban Meyer and Dan Mullen have done during their off week to kind of tweak this offense and build it a little bit more around Chris Leak and his strengths. 20 plays now they've run with 2 backs in the backfield. We've seen very little empty set. They've not exposed Chris Leak to the pressure that he's been exposed to, and the running game has been superb today.
2nd down, 4-man rush. Leak pulls up, darts to his left. Pulled a mini Baryshnikov on that one. And Tony Taylor chases him out of bounds.
But see, even on that play, I mean, the defense won. They covered the receivers, and it's a very little gain. But there was no panic in Chris Leak. He looks relaxed. He looks comfortable. When we saw him 2 weeks ago, he never looked relaxed against that LSU defense.
3rd and 11. 1:23 to go before the halftime break. And Latsko hurries on. He will place Tate Casey. Billy Latsko, starting fullback last year. Urban Meyer says, we don't have a fullback in our offense. Well, if it looks like a duck and walks like a duck and quacks, it's a fullback.
You know, I think Deshaun Wynn called that timeout. The clock was running down. Chris Leak was looking at the defense, and Deshaun Wynn was looking at the play clock. and he's the one who called timeout. Pretty smart decision. Take a look at Deshaun Wynn right here. He's looking at the clock. Chris Leak's looking at the defense, and Deshaun Wynn alertly got the timeout before the clock ran out. That would have been 3rd and 16. 3rd and 11's tough enough.
Florida uses the second of its allotment of 3, and the clock stops with 1:21 to go. First half.
So I was talking with my broker the other day. It was the usual small talk, you know. How's the kids? How's the family? All that. And then it dawned on me. When you think about all the years I've been paying those big commissions on everything we bought and sold, were we really discussing my kid's future or his kid's future?
What would you ask an oil company?
What is being done to make us less reliant on oil? That's a question. If we're going to keep our dependency on oil primarily for the coming years, the initial future years, where's it coming from?
Murder on the top floor and schoolgirl suspects.
I don't date guys younger than my dad.
Viagra. He was being all that he could be.
A new CSI New York Wednesday.
Gators scored on their first 2 possessions of the ball game, take a 14-0 lead. They threaten again now with a 14-3 lead and a 3rd down 11. They've missed on their last 3 third down conversions. And again, protectors on either side of Chris Leak. He steps up, has time, goes deep, it's caught. That's Chad Jackson, 1st and goal, Florida.
And it all is because of the protection. It started with 2 backs in the backfield, which says, okay, if they bring people, we're going to have 7 guys to block. If they don't bring pressure, we'll release the backs out into the route, and it's up to the front 5. And they did their job. It's a 4-man rush, so the backs go out. Chris Leak smartly steps up in the pocket and still has his feet set to make the throw. And again, when he sets his feet, he doesn't miss very often.
1st and goal, Florida, with a 14-3 lead. Fumble. There is a scramble, and Georgia, I believe, has recovered. Yes.
What a huge play for the Bulldog defense. If they go down 21-3 at half, it's very, very difficult. This looked like a poor exchange between Leak and Wynn. He never had the football, went right through his arms, and Georgia able to come up with the football. A poor exchange. What a costly turnover. They've only fumbled the ball 3 times all season. That one very costly.
Tony Taylor pounced on it. And you see the reaction on the Georgia bench now. Motion in the line. Contact made.
That was so big. I mean, you know, just in terms of the momentum and with the new quarterback and offense is trying to play somewhat conservative with their new quarterback. If you go down 21-3, you got to scrap a lot of what you're doing in the second half.
Prior to the snap, defense number 44 was offside, made contact. 5-yard penalty, remains 1st down.
Let me just take you through this fumble again. The running back has to look at the defense. The quarterback has to put the ball right in his belly, and then the running back clamps his arms over it. It looked like the position of the ball was a tad low, but it didn't look like it was it shouldn't have been a bad exchange. It looked like they should have made that exchange, but for whatever reason, a costly fumble for the Florida offense.
8th game, as you heard from Todd, that's only the 4th fumble lost this year. Now Georgia will keep it conservative and hope to go to halftime. There's a flag down on the far side of the field.
It's offsides again. Same place in the field, and another free 5 yards for the Georgia offense getting outside of their own 10-yard line.
Now, tomorrow, Jim Nantz hosts a celebration of some extraordinary athletes and their even more extraordinary stories when Chase Card Services presents the Ariti Honors for Courage in Sports. That's tomorrow. Check local listings for the time in your station, in your area. And it was a penalty against the Florida Gators. And it was on Marcus Thomas for the second time.
Georgia's not going to do anything crazy here with Joe Tereshinski. They're going to hand the ball off to Thomas Brown and go into the locker room thankful that it's only 14-3.
Left side. Out to the 20-yard line goes Thomas Brown. And the tackle made by the middle linebacker, Brandon Seiler. Dallas Baker, wide receiver, injured first half for the Gators, taken to the locker room on crutches. And this one will go to the break. Georgia trailing 14-3. Joe Tereshinski throwing the ball, 3 of 11 for 41 yards. He also had 1 run on a quarterback keeper, picked up 20 on that one. His first start as a Georgia Bulldog. His team trailing 14-3 as Chris Leak had a superb first half, save for the fumble at the end. Halftime with our score 14-3. Ready for a conversation with Mark Richt, and it's presented by Charles Schwab. Here's Tracy.
Coach, how big was that turnover in terms of momentum going into the second half?
Oh, we needed it. I mean, we're in trouble. It could have been 21-3 right now. 14-3 is something we could battle back. I mean, we would hope that we could battle back from 21, but it had made it a lot tougher on us.
What do you think of Joe T's performance so far?
And not bad, not bad. He actually needs a little help from his friends catching the ball a little bit, but I think he's done a nice job.
Thanks a lot. Good luck.
All right, thank you.
Well, that's the end of the first half with our score 14-3. Now let's go to Tim Brando in our New York studio.
Thanks, Vern. Coming up on the Geico Halftime Report, Spencer and I will have all of today's scores and highlights, including Miami coming back to cool the Heels after an early scare. After this word from your local station.
Lucy Lawless in a world premiere movie, Vampire Bats, CBS Sunday.
At Southern Exposure, you could win this. Not me, silly. This Dell Jr. Polaris 700 limited edition ATV. Register to win Fridays in Bradley, Princeton, and Barbara.
Little more of a party atmosphere if you're wearing orange and blue, I would think, as we get set for the start of the third quarter. 14-3, Florida. Georgia will get the ball. They won the toss to begin the game, deferred the option before 80,000 at Alltel Stadium in Jacksonville. Vern Lundquist, Todd Blackledge, Tracy Wolfson. And these two teams meeting here. Joe Tereshinski, 3 of 11, another hand pat from DJ Shockley. And Jonathan Phillips will kick off.
Joe T's numbers not impressive in the first half. 3 of 11, 41 yards, but I don't think he played poorly either. Had that one ball that got away from him. Had a couple passes that should have been caught. The first pass he threw to Martrez Milner should have been caught for a big play. The throw to McClendon on the slant against man-to-man should have been caught. So he's got a whole half of football here. And again, that turnover right before the half to keep it at 14-3 was enormous for Georgia.
Tyson Browning and Thomas Brown are the deep men. Jonathan Phillips will kick off for the Florida Gators.
Tyson Browning had a 52-yard return last week in the win over Arkansas.
Browning goes into the end zone. He'll bring it out from 2 yards in, and he's got some room. Flag is down. This one will go in the direction of the St. Johns River.
And once again, now Georgia will start with poor field position. Their last 4 possessions of the first half started on their average 13-yard line, and this one's going to be right back there again.
Give me your definition of a significant offensive possession. This one?
Yeah, although it is important that the offense plays better, but I think the real burden for Georgia is on their defense. I think from the rest of this game, The pressure is on the Georgia defense. They did not stop the run of Florida. Florida ran the ball better than they have all year, and they got no pressure on Chris Leak. So Joe Tereshinski has to do his job, but the Georgia defense has to really step up their job.
And the Georgia offense will get it from deep within the shadows of the goalpost. They began at the 15 after the holding call on the kick return. Tereshinski with a toss to Thomas Brown. Sutherland in front. And he is cut out of bounds up near the 21-yard line. Take a look at the halftime stats presented by Wrangler.
You see that 116 yards rushing in the first half for Florida, and they averaged over 5 yards a carry. So because Georgia couldn't stop the run, they couldn't one-dimensionalize Florida, and they couldn't get any pressure on Chris Leak. Not only no sacks, but no hits. They never even knocked him on the ground in the first half. They let him dance and pirouette, do all that stuff in the first half with no pressure.
A couple of pirouettes. 2nd and 4. Backs in the eye. This would be a give to Thomas Brown, and he is cut down by Jeremy Mincy at the point of the handoff. It'll be 3rd down.
I said this the last time we covered Florida. Jeremy Mincy is a defensive end, and he leads this team in tackles, and that is so unusual for a defensive end to lead the team in tackles, because plays where they run away from him, he's usually not going to be the first guy to get there, but he leads the team from a defensive end position.
3rd and 3. Out of the shotgun, Tereshinski. 4-man rush, quarterback draw. Tereshinski plunges across the 25 and picks up the 1st down.
Like the call, we've seen that twice, and again, it all starts with having a manageable yardage needed on 3rd down. And then watch Thomas Brown again lead blocking. I mean, he is a complete back. A super block on Brandon Seiler. That's what got Tereshinski the 1st down, running the quarterback draw. If it's 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, you can run as well as pass for the 1st down. You get 3rd and 7 plus against this team, it's tough.
And there is a flag on the ground. Thomas Ritter will tell us about it.
After the play was over, personal foul, number 57 on the defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
That's on Jeremy Mincy.
Yeah, we just talked nice about him for making a tackle, and now a costly penalty on a personal foul gives Georgia excellent position.
You see the reaction of Urban Meyer. And watch for a kick here. A missed kick. Brown breaking a tackle across the 50. Through the 45 and tackled finally by Reggie Nelson. A 17-yard gain.
And I get the sense that our guy Neil Callaway, the offensive coordinator, but more importantly the offensive line coach for Georgia, gave his boys a little talking to in the locker room at halftime. A little renewed vigor for the guys up front. 5 seniors. Thomas Brown with the cutback. Check this out right here. Nice block on Jarvis Herring on the backside. Never give up on a play because it could cut back to the other side. Daniel Inman stayed there and got a nice block on Herring to spring it loose.
And Nick Jones, a great block at the point of attack. Here's the toss. They'll come to the near side. D. Webb fights through the block of Sutherland and makes the tackle. Well, Georgia family lost a treasured member of the group last Sunday. Former Georgia football player Don Golden, along with his wife Debbie, killed in a car accident last Sunday. Don was a safety and punter in the early 70s. Played on the 71 team that went 11-1. All the Georgia safeties and punters are wearing a number 12 decal on their helmets in memory of Don Golden. 2nd down and 13. Danny Ware is in. Danny Ware gets the handoff, breaks the tackle down to the 40. It'll be 3rd and 9. Brandon Seiler had the contact behind the line and lost it.
Shows you how important that 1st down defensive play for Florida was, though. After getting gashed on a couple plays, they come back with a stop behind the line of scrimmage to make it 2nd and 13. Now it's 3rd and 10. So again, 0 for 4 today when it's 3rd and 7 plus against this Florida defense. When it's inside of 7 yards, they've been pretty successful.
Massaquoi, top of the screen. They hand it off, give it to Ware. Ware's loose. Wow. 1st down at the 25.
Wow, 3rd and 10. They ran right at him, and they made the conversion easily. They ran it to the left side. Check out the blocking over here. Max Gene Gillis, Dennis Rowland, the tight end Martrez Milner, all of them sticking on their blocks. Leonard Pope, Brandon Sutherland, the fullback. I formation, power running football on 3rd and 10, and they made it easily. That's pretty good execution by Georgia.
Danny Ware, the 6'1" sophomore. On this drive, they've kept it on the ground. They do so again. Tackle made by Earl Everett. Now, their current SEC East standings, Georgia with a victory today would clinch a spot in the championship game in Atlanta. If Florida wins, they're still in the chase. They do need someone else to defeat Georgia to have a chance to get to Atlanta. With a victory today, it would be the earliest clinching since they went to divisions in the early 90s. 2nd down. 2nd down and 5. And again, they keep it. Here's Marcus Thomas. Woo-hoo.
Great play.
Oh.
Again, Florida is putting extra guys around the line of scrimmage. 8 guys in there. 2 tight ends set for Georgia, but Marcus Thomas, with his quickness off the ball, got there behind the line of scrimmage. Well,
That's how a Bulldog urges his team on.
They converted their last 3rd down and long by running it. Now they're in a pass set out of the shotgun on 3rd and 7.
Bailey, McClendon, and Massaquoi are the 3 wides. Quarterback draw again, but this time the door closed quickly by Marcus Thomas.
Yeah, Marcus Thomas and Jeremy Mincy both were looking for the quarterback draw that time. They've gotten him a couple times, but this time those guys didn't just bust it up the field. They kind of had their eyes open, and Marcus Thomas and Jeremy Mincy were right there ready to stop it.
So that'll bring on Brandon Coutu. Now, above the stadium, the wind is blowing straight into his face. But if you look at the goalpost, it's swirling. And the streamers are going the other direction. From 39 yards out, Coutu. No.
He had made 11 straight before that kick. You talked about the wind, and when it swirls, I mean, it does things with kickers' minds. Coutu hit it hard enough, but not accurate enough.
This is getting good. Solstice, G6 Coupe, and the first ever Torrent. Pontiac, designed for action.
I had a really good time tonight.
Me too.
Smell great longer, stay out later with new Red Zone After Hours body spray.
You've waited, you've dreamed, and now it's finally back. Endless Shrimp at Red Lobster. The only time of year to enjoy all the shrimp you can eat. Don't miss Endless Shrimp right now, only at Red Lobster.
Brandon Coutu, after the missed field goal from 39 yards out, get a sense that he knew it could have been a one-possession game. And let's check in with Tracy.
Guys, good news for Florida. X-rays on wide receiver Dallas Baker's right ankle were negative. He's taped up and riding the bike right now. They say he's going to give it a go.
That is good news.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tracy.
Hard to catch passes on the stationary bike, though. He's obviously not in this first possession, so that means we're going to see a little bit more of Kenneth Tukes and Billy Latsko, Tate Casey.
Chad Jackson in motion. They hand it off. Come to the right side to Sean Wynn, who had an excellent first half.
And the good news for Georgia, even though they didn't score there, and Coutu obviously very disappointed, is they at least flipped the field. They had been starting inside their own 15 so much. That last possession started on their 15, but because they had some success moving the football, they at least were able to flip the field position a little bit and help their defense out. But this is where the game's going to rest for Georgia. If they want to get back in this game, their defense is going to have to do it for them.
2nd down and 7. Chris Leak, 11 of 15 in the first half. Very much in control. Mike DeGore snaps it back. Here's Leak out of the backfield, wide right, Easton Moore. And a nice job by DeMario Minter. That'll bring up 3rd down.
Now this will be interesting to watch on this 3rd down play, whether Willie Martinez will choose to go after Chris Leak with a blitz. They did not blitz one time in the first half, and Chris Leak never felt any heat. Here's the first 3rd down situation. 3rd and 7. Will Georgia choose to come after him a little bit on this play?
Now they'll go with 4 down.
And you see 2 backs in, Latsko and Wynn.
Blitz threatened from the corner. They will not blitz. Leak fires it, incomplete.
And see, that as much as anything is just a little miscommunication between a quarterback who has played a lot and Kenneth Tukes, a wide receiver who has not played a lot. The depth at the wide receiver position has not been a real strength for this Florida team. Tukes in the game, known more as a blocker. This ball thrown in a different spot than where Tukes thought it was going to be.
And the explanation for a disbelieving Urban Meyer. Eric Wilbur on to punt for the 4th time, and the always dangerous Thomas Flowers at the 35-yard line. This one high and short. There's a flag down on the far side of the field. Flowers will let it bounce, and it does inside the 35-yard line.
There was movement in the back row of the Florida punt team, and I think that might be what the penalty was.
Got it.
One of the things that Florida has done an exceptional job of the last several weeks is limiting punt return yardage. Watch in this back row in the personal protectors. There's the movement right there before the snap. That's Phil Troutwine, a backup tackle. They do a lot of different things with their punt team. A lot of different formations. They put big guys in the back, fast guys up front. And they're going to have to kick over on this time. But when they played LSU 2 weeks ago, Skylar Green.
Formation. On the kicking team, number 16 was not on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalties. We play 4th down.
Skylar Green was leading the SEC in punt returns, and he only had 1 yard's worth of returns. So they did a great job of kicking away from it or covering him when they did kick to him.
If you watch that game, recall that Eric Wilbur used a rugby-style kick. Moved to his right. They're not employing that. Oh, that's a poor one. That went
away from it if you're Georgia.
Absolutely out of bounds at the 49-yard line. A 29-yard punt. And it underscores your point about field position.
And a costly penalty because field position was already being flipped. They made him kick again. He got a poor kick, and now Joe Tereshinski and the Georgia offense start inside Florida territory.
14-3 with 7 minutes, 43 seconds remaining, 3rd quarter.
I can be soft sometimes, dramatic other times, thrifty all the time.
You can at the Home Depot. Walk through our lighting and ceiling fan showroom. You'll find an endless selection of unique designs by Hampton Bay, as well as the know-how to make your new look come together. And with 20 to 30% off select styles, now is the time to shed a new light on your decor.
At the Home Depot, you can do it, we can help.
You've waited, you've dreamed, and now it's finally back. Endless shrimp at Red Lobster. The only time of year to enjoy all the shrimp you can eat. Don't miss Endless Shrimp right now, only at Red Lobster.
I'm Dale Earnhardt Jr. Welcome to a new generation of Wrangler.
New fits. New comfort. New styles. Wrangler Jeans Company. A new generation of Wrangler. New fits, new comfort, new styles.
I love when it's thin. Thin, 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 thin.
Who delivered?
For crispy crust loaded with your favorite toppings, it's not delivery, it's DiGiorno. Thin.
The Home Depot SEC on CBS is sponsored by State Farm, Red Lobster, Dr. Pepper, and by Pontiac.
Back at Alltel Stadium, the crowd count of 84,501. And this game being played in the swirling winds.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell. I mean, the one flag's up top, look like it's blowing one way. Tracy Wolfson just told us it's blowing the other way down on the field. Whichever way it's blowing, Georgia needs to capitalize on this field position. The best they've had by 25 yards in the ball game.
Tyson Browning in motion coming to the near side. There's the reverse. It goes to the right side for A.J. Bryant, who has been injured most of the year. They put that play in specifically for Bryant. And Brandon Seiler might have noticed that, hey, I haven't seen 18 on here. Might pay attention to him. So they try the reverse and they pick up 2.
Nice job by D. Webb also just turning that thing back in. He stayed at home and Seiler was able to make the play coming from inside, but well defended by Florida defense.
Now Tony Milton on at fullback for the first time today, number 9. And Greg Lumpkin is the running back. Tereshinski with pressure, Reggie Nelson. And he batted it up in the air. Reggie Lewis, rather, 22 instead of 32. And a flag is down.
22, Reggie Lewis.
Lewis coming on the corner blitz. Got both hands on it. Tereshinski batted the ball down.
Tereshinski did a nice job of getting his eyes around. It was an unblocked guy coming from the outside.
Looked like a volleyball spike. I wonder if could this. No, wait and find out.
Well, they probably will wave it off if it was tipped. I mean,
the flag was for an illegal bat. However, the bat was by an eligible player, therefore it is not a foul. Incomplete pass.
I got all that. It's an illegal bat that was negated.
And it was a good call by Greg Madison and Charlie Strong to bring pressure. He got his hands on the ball, and Tereshinski says, let's regroup and try to hit it on 3rd down.
3rd and 8. Inside. Got it. It's very close. I think they got it. Mohamed Massaquoi.
Hey, they needed 8, and he caught it at about 3 and had to make up 5 yards on his own. It's going to be very close. It's a little tunnel screen to the wide receiver. He comes a couple steps off, then underneath, the lineman released downfield. Ray McDonald from his defensive end position made a great play, but Massaquoi did a nice job showing some strength and just continuing to fight forward towards that 1st down marker.
Short by a smidgen.
I think Georgia needs to go for it here.
Yes.
I mean, they can't. They've got field position, and they really have to capitalize on this field position. It's the best they've had by far.
They've only gone for a 1st down 4 times on 4th down this year.
I mean, if I go anywhere, I go right behind Big Max Gene Gillis. He's 6'4", 340 pounds, and that might have been in August. We're almost in November. I'll guarantee he's closer to 360 right now. I get right behind Big 74 and just push.
Lumpkin is the deep back in the eye. If it's not, Tereshinski, they'll give it to the fullback, Sutherland, and he's got a first down.
And they ran, guess where? Behind 74.
Right.
It wasn't the quarterback, it was the fullback, but that's where they went.
He's large.
He is, and he's powerful. You get that pressure in there, that push, that surge, and the big fullback takes it in for the easy first down. Now might be a good time to play action and try to get one deep.
First down at the 39-yard line. Second offensive set in this quarter for the Georgia Bulldogs. They misfired on a 39-yard field goal last time they were here. Here's Tereshinski. Inside pass. It's caught by Sean Bailey, number 4, at the 30-yard line. That'll bring up a second down and 1. And gives us a moment to go back to New York. Here's Tim Brando.
Being the public servant that I am, Vern, gonna make your partner happy. Penn State beginning to pull away now. This is Brandon Snow taking it in from 2 yards out after a 58-yard kickoff return. 23-7 Nittany Lions.
I appreciate that, Tim, more than I can ever let you know. Second and 1. I formation. They'll come left side. This is Lumpkin.
Wow, nice run by Lumpkin. And he's kind of the forgotten guy in that backfield, you know, with Thomas Brown and Danny Ware, but Lumpkin is a power runner as well, 215-pounder. Missed all of last year with a knee injury, but he gives them another power runner. Nice blocking there by Ryan Schnetzer, the center, number 52. This offensive line for Georgia playing much better here in the second half. Really pushing them.
See what he did 2 years ago. Had 79 yards in that game. Here's Tereshinski with the play fake. That's what you suggested, and there's the pass.
See, it's all single coverage because Florida is going to bring Jarvis Herring, the safety, up to bring him up around the line of scrimmage. So there's one safety, and wherever there's a wide receiver, it's man-to-man coverage. Here's one safety. All these guys are here to stop the run. One-on-one right there. And if you beat the coverage, you got a lot of open space to throw him the football. And the last 2 throws by Joe Tereshinski have been his best 2 throws of the ball game. Right on the dot.
First down at the 12. A 14-3 game. Latter stages, third quarter. Lumpkin and Sutherland still in the eye. Martrez Milner, the tight end. Here is the toss for Lumpkin with Sutherland out in front. But he can't get around the corner because Brian Crum, number 13, the linebacker, got out to make the tackle.
Brian Crum is one of those Georgia guys on this Florida team. You mentioned there were 7 players on the Gator team from the state of Georgia. Brian Crum, one of those from Woodbine, Georgia, played at Camden County High School.
The red zone offense for Georgia, not exemplary this year. Urban Meyer looks on. Second down and 7 from the 10. Sean Bailey in motion. Oh, Tereshinski slipped. Halfback pass. It was designed that way. Tereshinski, that was a fall down play. And that is a touchdown for the Georgia Bulldogs. He meant to slip. You don't think so?
Definitely don't think so.
You don't think so?
I saw him practices on Thursday, and he didn't fall on Thursday, partner.
Okay.
Now, that might have added to the drama here today. But on Thursday, I'll guarantee you he didn't fall down.
Oh, baby.
But what about the poise to get back up and stay with it? I mean, that was a one-shot play right there.
Wow. Well, it added to the drama. How about that?
I think they're going to buzz for a replay on the spot, maybe. Well, we'll see.
All right, so he didn't.
Well, first of all, did he pitch it before he was down? That's the first question. He got stepped on and tripped. As long as he pitched it before a knee was down, the play's okay. Thomas Brown, left-handed throw. Did he get the ball across? Clearly.
Yes.
Clearly got the ball across. So the question might be, was his knee down before he pitched the ball to Thomas Brown? He fell. Wow, that's close.
That's hard to tell, isn't it? Joe Delaney is reviewing this. It was a great catch.
The line was all moving across to the left, and so he got stepped on by one of his men. Was the ball out before his knee was down?
Well,
that's
now,
the question.
and now we get to the point about indisputable visual
That's right.
evidence.
It was ruled a touchdown.
It was ruled a touchdown. Under review.
It was gone. I think it was gone. I think it'll
I do
stand
too.
as a touchdown, and a tremendous effort by Joe Tereshinski.
The quarterback was not down when he pitched the ball. Ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
How do you do? I still like my version better.
It was great. Yeah. I mean, you know, it's a kid who dreamed of playing in the Florida-Georgia game. Why not add that to the story?
Oh, goodness. The extra point from Katu is up and good. Well, they'll never forget this one.
That's the one he'll tell Joe the Fourth. I did try to fall down. I'll show you the film someday. It was a great play. We fooled him, boy.
Tereshinski in the history books.
This month, I will rack up a massive cell phone bill talking about absolutely nothing.
When my parents open next month's cell phone bill, they will cry.
My calls will be monitored like a felon's.
My dad's patience with my cell phone bill will run out at a socially crippling time.
Don't get schooled in wireless. Get GoPhone. Pay as you go with cash or pick your plan with debit or credit. GoPhone comes with everything but a surprise bill.
I will be grounded several times this year, but not because of my GoPhone.
Only from Singular, raising the bar.
In a time of hunger, empires fall, heroes rise, and chicken rules. Cows in shining armor, the 2006 Chick-fil-A calendar. Meet Charbroilerman, Reuben Hood, Bold Hoof, and more. Just $5 and filled with coupons for delicious food. 'Tis nobler to eat more chicken at Chick-fil-A.
Krill takes a snap. Keeps it downfield. Bosso catches it! He catches it! What a spectacular catch!
Want a chance to be the Pontiac game correspondent at the national championship game?
This has been your Pontiac game-changing performance.
Then do what this fan did. Record your best call of a game-changing performance at Pontiac.com/NCAA. Pontiac, official performance machines of the NCAA.
That's the pub. Prince Charles is coming to the U.S. next week. But first, he'll be on 60 Minutes tomorrow.
That's Dad on the left, son on the right, and grandson on the right. Joe Jr. and Joe the Third.
Well, let's take a look at the touchdown. Now, there are two defenders for Florida that are responsible for the backside. If Joe Tereshinski doesn't fall down, they probably don't get sucked in so far. They thought it was run for sure. It was not an intentional flop, but it worked like an intentional flop because both guys were out of position, and then Joe Tereshinski, the presence of mind to stay with the play and then reach for the goal line.
Wow. And Thomas Brown, the lefty.
You know, when they ran that on Thursday, Mark Rick was standing next to him, and he said, that didn't look too good. And then he said, don't tell anybody about that play, will you?
And I will testify that you didn't tell me about it, which is why I thought he fell down. Oh, brother.
That was something.
Joe Tereshinski, they will talk about that for as long as football is played in Athens. 3:43, 14-10. And the ball's off the tee.
Well, we talked about the burden for Georgia being on their defense. The opposite is true for Florida. The burden back on their offense now. They had 121 yards in their first two drives of offense. Since then, on 5 offensive drives, only 94 yards. So the Georgia defense has settled down. They got the turnover right before the half, and now momentum changing in this football game.
This time the ball stays on the tee, and Coutu kicks it fairly short. He's kicking into the wind, and that one was held up, grabbed at the 12, and back out to the 31-yard line. I must tell you, Todd, my mind flashed back to 1982 when I saw that play. I did a Wisconsin-Illinois game. The head coach was Dave McLean, the late Dave McLean. They ran what they call the "oh my" play. I'm cleaning this up. Where the quarterback, Randy Wright, turns his back and deliberately throws the ball on a one-hopper out to Al Toon, where the offensive line turns around and goes, "oh my." They relax. Al Toon threw a touchdown pass of 55 yards. Wow. And when I saw Tereshinski go down, my mind flashed back 23 years. Here's the pass to Jamel Cornelius.
Big pass completed to number 6, Jamel Cornelius. Brought down by number 23, Tim Jennings.
2nd down and 5.
Nice first down play right there for Florida. Get a little bit of juice back into your offense. Chris Leak has looked under control the whole game. Set up and made a nice strong throw on first down.
Let's go. Hand off to Sean Wynn. It'll be 3rd down and 3. Deshaun Wynn with the carry. And let's quickly go back to New York. Once again, here's Tim.
All right, Vern. Drew Weatherford is going to hit Greg Carr for a touchdown here. Florida State now down 3, 24-21. You know, Vern, we were thinking 25 years ago it was run, Lindsey, run in Jacksonville. If something comes from this latest touchdown, we've already tabbed it as the throw to Joe for Georgia.
That's 3rd and 3 here. Leak falls on it, 4th down.
Boy, did Georgia dodge one there, because Georgia was so out of position. Now, they may have called a timeout. They did. They were so out of position. They're running guys all over the place. And they got the timeout call before the snap. So actually, instead of Georgia dodging it, Florida dodged it. Yeah. See, Florida came out with these 2 receivers, and Georgia wasn't sure who was supposed to be out there. They had all kind of guys running out. Then finally they called timeout. Tim Jennings called the timeout.
Things are discombobulated here.
Oh, my.
This was last week's Pontiac game-changing performance. With Tennessee threatening to take a late lead, Alabama's Roman Harper forced this fumble by Corey Anderson. It swung momentum in the Tide's favor en route to a 6-3 victory that kept Bama undefeated. View this week's top plays and vote for the Pontiac game-changing performance. If you see a game-changing performance, nominate it. The winning school will receive a $5,000 general scholarship contribution from Pontiac in the only fan-voted general scholarship award program. Vote now at Pontiac.com/NCAA.
It's the final days of Pontiac's new release party. Your chance to experience the most new models in our history. Get to your dealer by November 14th for a limited time new release bonus on the purchase or lease of a new G6 Coupe, an award-winning G6 sedan. The Pontiac G6 starts at $16,490. Pontiac's new release bonus ends November 14th. Don't be late. Pontiac, designed for action.
So I work at a children's hospital. I'm sure some people would quit after winning a lottery, but you know, I hope I'm not being too forward, but I feel this real connection to you. Connection to you. Connection to you.
Diet Cherry Vanilla Dr. Pepper.
Phenomena. Phenomena. Phenomena.
Diet Cherry Vanilla Dr. Pepper. Tastes so good, you'll get lost in it.
The Amazing Race teams head to Costa Rica, where the competition is fierce, and winning means staying together.
This is awesome!
A new Amazing Race, CBS Tuesday.
Big crowd, everybody rocking everywhere. Rock house, rock house, rock house. We're going to the rock house. Rock house.
84,000 in in a state of disbelief, 14-10. And Dallas Baker back on the field now, number 81. Here's Leak, pulls it back. Jackson, see ya. Tim Jennings.
Tim Jennings may be the littlest guy out there at 5'8", 178, but when you catch a guy unaware and you're coming full speed and he hasn't even turned his head yet, you can hit like this. Tim Jennings all over this play. The quick throw, and as soon as Jackson turned around, Jennings just planted him backwards.
Willie Martinez, defensive coordinator, replaced Brian Van Gorder on the Georgia staff. And as they went to the sideline, Chris Leak, fake. Eric Wilbur got the first plus a bunch to the 41.
We saw Mark Richt with the call on the throwback to the quarterback. Urban Meyer says, take that. Design fake punt all the way, and they caught Georgia flat-footed. Eric Wilbur, you see, you got the big guys back here as your personal protectors. Only one guy on this side. That's where they ran the fake, but all three personal protectors went that way. Two linemen and Billy Latsko, the fullback. A much-needed play by the Florida special teams.
This is the second time we've seen them with a fake punt. Earl Everett picked up one earlier this year. Out of the punt formation, that was a gain of 20, a first down at the 40. Here's Leak. Fires it to the 37-yard line, Tate Casey.
This is getting fun.
Yeah,
this is getting fun.
Eric Wilbur, first rush of his career. And it's 2nd and 5.
You know, and really, the game changes so quickly. It was actually his poor punt that set up Georgia's touchdown drive. He shanked that punt, and now he comes back the next time he gets out there, he fakes it and makes a big play.
2nd and 5. Here's the option and the pitch and a bubble.
First time they've run the option all day, and it blew up. I mean, poorly executed. And part of it is the Georgia defense is starting to toughen up against that inside run. So this time they fake inside to Manson, and Chris Leak, because see Quentin Moses closed down so fast he has to pull that out, but then he made a bad pitch. And here we are at the very end of the third quarter. That's the first time in the game that he's had to try to pitch the football like that.
We've reached the end of 3 at Alltel Stadium. 14-10, Florida leads. We'll return to Jacksonville, Florida right after this word from your local station.
Let's see, we got Vonage a couple of months ago. It was easy to install. I mean, I'm not really technical at all, and I did it myself. Look, so I just used our old phone, and it costs less too. It's just $24.99 a month, and that includes voicemail, call waiting, caller ID, and a lot more at no extra charge. So we just love it.
We're not out to change the world, just the way you talk to it. Sign up now and get your first month free. Call 1-800-930-4VON. High-speed internet connection required.
Turn left in 300 feet. Arriving at destination.
You're not from around here, are you?
No.
Are you lost?
No.
You need directions anywhere?
No. I already got them.
Garmin, the leader in navigation. We'll take you there.
NCIS!
Witness to his father's kidnapping.
We're gonna find him, right?
We'll find out what he does next will shock everyone.
He's like a mini Gibbs.
Like a mini me. NCIS Tuesday.
Cold Case, CBS Sunday. Everybody's watching.
Are you suffering due to back or spinal injury? Get moving again by visiting Meredith Chiropractic of Ashland. With over 20 years experience, Dr. Terry F. Meredith will effectively diagnose and treat your particular ailment. Chiropractic adjustments, therapy, exercise, and nutritional supplements to deal with and in most cases eliminate your pain. Meredith Chiropractic will treat a wide variety of cases but only accepts patients they believe they can help. Meredith Chiropractic, 2120 Carter Avenue in Ashland, helping people since 1984.
Tudor's Biscuit World has country homemade cooking at its best. And now we're giving our customers something to truck about. Come in now and register to win a new 2005 Ford Ranger and a Marriott vacation package. On December 23rd, one person from each Tudor's location will win a Marriott vacation and become a finalist for the truck. Later that evening, one lucky customer will win a new truck. So register today and start your day the homemade way.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, honey. Look in the toy bin.
You found Teddy!
Yeah, isn't that great?
With Stow & Go seating and storage, Dodge Grand Caravan can help you save the day. Now get the Dodge Advantage, including $2,500 cash allowance or 0% financing on Grand Caravan.
The Storm Tracker 13 weather team, the most accurate forecast in the Charleston-Huntington area.
Stand up fire. They may or may not blitz. They won't. Buck back, third down on the 8. In trouble. Got a block behind him. Then a throw and a run. Complete to the 25. To the 30. Lindsey's got 35-40. Lindsey's got 45-50. 45-40. Run, Lindsey. 25-20. 50. 10. 5. Lindsey stop. Lindsey stop. Lindsey stop.
This is the 25th anniversary of what Vince Dooley called the most important play in Georgia football history. Larry Munson was 58 years old when he made that call. Larry Munson this afternoon is calling his 40th Georgia-Florida game.
Florida 5 of 10, but they've only converted one of their last 6. A big one right here for Chris Lee.
Mark Manson comes out wide left. Here's
blitz. First time they blitzed.
Empty backfield.
And they got him. Tony Taylor, the first time that they've blitzed. And you're right, it came off the empty backfield. And Tony Taylor came right up the gut unblocked.
Flag on the far side.
Here's Tony Taylor, number 43. He's going to come inside. You see Ray Gant absorb the block of Mike DeGore, and that left Taylor free to come right to the quarterback.
And then Quentin Moses got there. Looks like we've got a sideline warning again. This one on the Georgia bench, right?
Quentin Moses there, Tony Taylor, a very timely blitz by the Georgia defense, and now one of their last 7 third downs Florida has only converted.
Eric Wilbur, who ran it out of punt formation last time out, and previous to that had a 29-yard punt. And Wilbur is kicking into the wind now. And it's a nice kick. Fair catch called at the 7-yard line by Thomas Flowers. A 40-yard punt. Very effective.
Yeah. Now we've seen Florida flip the field position. Georgia did it early in this half, and now Florida puts their defense in great position. Georgia a long field to work with.
College life rocks. But for the students of Tate University, college is gonna bite. Vampire Bats, a world premiere movie, CBS tomorrow, 9/8 Central.
You've waited, you've dreamed, and now it's finally back. Endless Shrimp at Red Lobster. The only time of year to enjoy all the shrimp you can eat. Don't miss Endless Shrimp right now, only at Red Lobster.
I love when it's thin. Thin, 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 thin.
Who delivered?
For crispy crust loaded with your favorite toppings, it's not delivery, it's DiGiorno. Thin.
No Venetian blinds. That's why Geico.com is so simple. Or is it because you can get help if you need it and get a free rate quote in minutes? 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Simple as that.
And now, it's time for our Geico scoring recap.
Gators were dominant in the opening moments of the game. An 80-yard drive capped by Chris Leak's touchdown run. Then a punt return set up this pass from Leak to Tate Casey, 14-0. Georgia got on the board when Brandon Coutu authored a 31-yard field goal. And then in the third quarter, a little dipsy-do. Toss to Thomas Brown. He found Joe Tereshinski III. Made a great catch. In for the touchdown. 14-10 is where we stand. And what next?
Well, we've got a whole fourth quarter to play. And right now for Georgia with the football, Joe Tereshinski must be very smart. He'd love to get 1, maybe 2 first downs. And if you have to punt, do it with a little better field position. But be smart with the football.
Danny Ware gets the carry on first down, and he does manage to pick up a yard or two. He's out near the 10-yard line. See, the last fourth quarter comeback against the Gators came 22 years ago. 2nd and 8 after the 2-yard gain. Brandon Styler, middle linebacker. Tereshinski from the spread. Russ Tanner is in at center now. He and Ryan Schnetzer rotate series. It's Tanner's turn. Handoff comes right. Good defensive job by Jeremy Mincy. It'll be 3rd down. Now Red Lobster presents today's scholar athlete. It is Joe Tereshinski III. His accumulated grade point average of 3.35, a double major. He'll graduate in December and posted a 4.0 during spring and summer semesters. As a matter of fact, he thought about medical school when he was a high school senior and opted to turn down an offer to go to Harvard. Settled instead for Georgia, where his dad and grandfather had gone. Here's Tereshinski inside. Massaquoi. Big play, and it almost was a monstrous play.
Well, it still was a big play because they got that first down, and now they're out past the 20. But Reggie Nelson is the guy who kept it from becoming a huge play. Massaquoi caught it and turned up field with great speed, and Reggie Nelson, the beautiful tackle right in the middle of the field, stopped it from being an even bigger play.
1st and 10.
But again, 3rd and 5, better chance to convert. 3rd and 7 plus, very tough against this defense.
4 men down for the Gators defense. Now the change by Joe Tereshinski. Play clock at 5. Come right. Gets a block. Slips a tackle. Danny Ware to the 30. Out to the 32-yard line.
You know, one thing you see with Joe Tereshinski is he's a 4th-year guy. He's a 4th-year junior. So he is very familiar with this system. And you can just see with his checks and his audibles and his managing the game, he knows exactly what he's doing. Now, you know, he's had a couple throws that got away from him, but he knows what he's doing, and he looks very confident and comfortable out there running the Georgia offense. It's not that new to him. Playing experience is new. The offense itself is not new to him.
2nd down and 1 in the eye. Handoff. They keep it on the ground, and they pick up a first down to the 35-yard line. Jarvis Herring with a tackle.
And there's the 2nd first down. I mean, that's even if they don't score here, they've got a chance to flip field position again. If they would have gone 3 and out and punted from inside their 10, they would have had a tough job ahead of them. But right now, they've got field position control.
1st down and 10. Sean Bailey, Brian McClendon both break wide to the left. Mohamed Massaquoi is the 3rd receiver. He's wide right. On 1st down. Nice block by Nick Jones.
Oh, you're not kidding.
Oh, that was terrific.
Nick Jones did a great job of staying with the block, because it looked like Brandon Seiler was going to make the play in the backfield, and Nick Jones just used his quickness to get to him. Watch Seiler come on the blitz, and Nick Jones is going to pick him up. He's just going to cut him off. He saw him and stopped instead of pulling out in front of the play, peeled back and blocked Brandon Seiler out of the way so Ware could turn upfield. That was a heads-up play by Nick Jones.
He had a handful, too.
Yeah, well, hey, he showed enough athleticism. Let the holding go by the wayside on that one.
2nd down and 6. Blitz. Tereshinski gets a great block. Oh, boy. Danny Ware, the running back, stuck the linebackers. What a wonderful play. Joe Tereshinski Jr. Any tension in this game?
Well, this is about the 4th design quarterback run. Nick Jones and Danny Ware are leading the play. Jones gets a block on Moss. Then you get Massaquoi blocking downfield as a wide receiver. Excellent job, everybody executing, and Joe Tereshinski again showing that he is very comfortable not only with the management of the game, but even running the quarterback runs that Shockley used to run.
Almost 100 yards on the ground in this half. Here's a draw play. Danny Ware, one man to beat. He's down at the 33-yard line. Webb and Nelson with the tackle, but a 19-yard gain.
Just power running again behind Max Gene Gillis, the fullback Brandon Sutherland. Look at that block there. Daniel Inman, Russ Tanner, the center. Everybody blocking their men. And again, this is a Georgia offense, an offensive line that has played this second half with a little different resolve. 37 running plays, only 17 passes, but now 110 yards rushing in the second half.
On first down, the handoff, and the sweet Thomas Brown, he tripped up behind the line, and Mincy hurls him down at the 42-yard line.
And right when the Florida defense needed it, they needed a play.
Second down and 18. Charlie Strong, the co-defensive coordinator at Florida. He and Greg Madison share those responsibilities. Charlie, a holdover from Ron Zook's staff, and it was a year ago this week that Ron Zook was fired as the head coach of the Florida Gators. Thomas Brown back in, nothing doing on second down.
Well, back-to-back, two excellent plays by the Florida defense.
Let's check the CBS Sportsline stat of the game. Georgia's play selection. Todd, you just mentioned this. 39-17 run over pass. Get complete game stats at cbssportsline.com.
3rd and 16 now for Georgia. They're 1 for 7 converting on plays a third down of more than 7 yards. The one they converted was a 3rd and 10, and they ran the football out of the I formation.
Bailey and McClendon break off to the left. Massacroix wide right. Florida showing blitz. They're coming. And a designed run again. It's Tereshinski down at the 35-yard line. It will be 4th down. Now the wind is behind them. Brandon Coutu has a 58-yard field goal this year. He kicked that against Louisiana Monroe. This one's going to be in excess of 50. Here's Coutu. That 58-yarder was a school record for a field goal without a tee. There it is, the end of it. That's 58 yards. And this one will be from 52. Lee Jackson will hold. Brian Jordan will snap it. On the way, it's got plenty of distance.
It hit the upright.
Wow! Coutu is 1 for 3.
Well, he nailed it. You're right. He had plenty of distance. But you got to remember, it's not a total loss for Georgia because they started this drive on their own 8-yard line. So at least they moved the ball out.
Florida's got the ball at the 35.
Wow, that's beautiful. Hey, look at that one. Whoa. I like that one. That was cool.
The all-new 7-passenger Jeep Commander with available command view skylights. It's your world. Take command.
Trust. It's everything. Nobody hands out trust. Talent is one thing. Combine talent with people you trust, and you will walk on that court with a level of respect no one can match.
Ask your financial advisor about the Hartford Mutual Funds, offered by the Hartford, a company built on 194 years of trust. Request a complete prospectus with investment objectives, risks, fees, expenses, and other information to read and consider carefully before investing or sending money.
In a time of hunger, empires fall, heroes rise, and Chicken rules. Cows in shining armor. The 2006 Chick-fil-A calendar. Meet Charbroilerman, Reuben Hood, Bold Hoof, and more. Just $5 and filled with coupons for delicious food. 'Tis nobler to eat more chicken at Chick-fil-A.
The Home Depot SEC on CBS is sponsored by Garmin, the Hartford Mutual Funds, Chick-fil-A, and by Jeep.
14-10 Florida still. Let's go down to Tracy for an SEC moment presented by Sonic.
Vern, in 1976, Florida led 27-13 at the half, but after a locker room tirade by defensive coordinator Urk Russell, it was all Bulldogs. Quarterback Ray Goff threw for 2 and ran for 3 touchdowns, and Georgia rolled 41-27. Joe Tarashinsky Jr. was the starting center, and he told us yesterday that that game was his best memory of this series.
Now, he talked about sitting between Joe Paris and Mike Moonpie Wilson. And Urk Russell and the defensive guys roared right through and went on the field. And Vince Dooley said, well, let's go, guys. And they won it. Here's a handoff, left side. It's Deshaun Wynn to the 39-yard line. Brandon Coutu just a moment ago. Missed it left from 39 in the first half. Hit the upright from 52. And it was a doink.
Well, and ironically, I think the last time that Georgia came into this game undefeated, the year they won the SEC championship game in 2002, Billy Bennett missed 3 field goals in that game, and they could have won. They lost 20-13.
On 2nd and 5, here's the handoff to Wynn. Breaks out of a tackle. He is going to have a first down at the 46-yard line. Stop made by Trey Battle, number 25.
And Dallas Baker out there blocking in front of the play. He left the game with a bad ankle, came back, and he's out there blocking on the perimeter for Deshaun Wynn to pick up that first down.
Second time this season, Deshaun Wynn has been in excess of 100 yards. He's carried it 17 times now for 101. Here's Dallas Baker. 1st and 10. And you start to peer at the clock if you're a Georgia fan. 6:33 to go.
Well, you peer because a 4-point lead, you've got to score a touchdown. If they make any of those field goals, a field goal wins it.
Marcus Manson roars through.
But you better stop Florida before you think about anything else. Nice 1-2 punch today with Deshaun Wynn and Marcus Manson. And truly the difference in this game for the Florida offense has been their ability to run. Billy Latsko playing a lot, the lead blocker on many of these Florida run plays. And Manson shows his burst up the middle.
That's a gain of 22 for number 2. And Florida on the ground 162 yards. Manson remains in the backfield with Latsko. Behind Chris Leak. Cornelius starts in motion. And Manson tries to bounce it outside. He can't, as Charles Johnson is down low and then Tony Taylor up high.
Well, Chris Leak, we talked about he had to be comfortable and he had to be confident, and I think he's been that all day. Ran for a touchdown. Nice completion to Dallas Baker. He's had his feet set every time he's thrown the ball today. They've done different things. They've rolled him out of the pocket. They've run the football. They've had backs and tight ends in the formations. And Chris Leak has responded. Not huge numbers, but very, very efficient numbers.
5:20 to go in regulation. 2nd down, 11. That's Kenneth Tukes, number 9. Manson has it, goes right. It'll be 3rd down and a long. Ellaby with the tackle. Turnovers in the ball game, 1 apiece. Deshaun Wynn fumbled at the end of the first half when Florida was on the verge of posting a 21-3 lead. Reggie Nelson had an interception off the arm of Joe Tarashinsky. So 1 turnover by each team.
Biggest play of the game right here for both teams. Clock is moving.
3rd and 8. They loaded up to the near side with 3 wideouts. Now Tukes Number 9 in motion. And take too long?
No, they didn't take too long. But I don't know if they had there's some kind of motion penalty. And Tavares Washington kicking the dirt knows that they just backed themselves up. And they stopped the clock.
Snap. False start. 72. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
And that's the 6'7" senior Lance Butler.
Just as critical as the yardage. Lance Butler's at the top of the screen, the right tackle right up there. Marion just a hair early. He was pulling on the play.
8th penalty. 3rd and 13, and the clock stopped. Now it starts again. 4:10 to go. Georgia blitzing. The tackle made and the helmet lost at the 30-yard line. Tony Taylor with the stop.
Inside the 30-yard line. Tackled by 43, Tony Taylor.
And Kenneth Tukes runs off holding his right wrist.
Well, the biggest thing for Deshaun Wynn here is to protect the football. Tony Taylor's trying to rip it out, lost his helmet, but Deshaun Wynn hangs on to the football.
3:40 to go. 4th down.
I think Florida's going to let this clock go all the way down, burn as much clock as they can, and then call timeout and set up the field goal for Hetland, who is perfect on the season. 8 for 8.
If good, that would make it a 7-point game. Time called with 3:25 remaining. Well, this one's had a little bit to talk about. Or stare about.
No, I'm just online paying the credit card bill.
What?
No, I'll be home soon.
We don't want a late fee. Honey, I told you we can't cancel.
I saw this before.
That's the last one, man. Let's go.
Sometimes you can't help paying late. Avoid late fees with the new Citi Simplicity card. No late fees when you make a purchase each billing period. Citi. Live richly.
Hey, you're done shopping for car insurance?
Yes.
Honey, did they compare this rate to other companies?
No.
How about service?
No.
Hey, think easier. With one call to 1-800-PROGRESSIVE, a licensed professional will help you make the decision that's right for you.
Gary, you don't store Bud Light in the heat.
Says who?
Says someone. Someone who knows.
You store Bud Light in cool, dark place, not in heat. Now I punish you like you punish Bud Light.
Is this gonna cut in the lunch?
You like it when I store you in heat?
Let me check. No.
Store in cool, dark, dry place.
After a lot of discussion on the sidelines, Chris Hetland was pulled back by his coach Urban Meyer, and Eric Wilbur sent on.
Well, see, the 3 points doesn't really change the scenario. Georgia still has to score a touchdown. And I think Urban Meyer, it's been hard to tell exactly what the wind is doing. Hetland's long field goal of the year of 47. So let's hope that Eric Wilbur can pin him back and let our defense win the game here at the end for us.
Those are the thoughts of Urban Meyer after that. He was tossing grass in the air to test the wind. Now here's this unusual punt formation. We used to call this a coffin corner kick. There's a flag down. May have been movement by the Florida punt coverage team before the actual kick.
Well, see, they tried to shift 3 guys out to go down and down that punt, and it's an illegal shift on Florida. See, they're trying to get 3 guys out, and then Wilbur's going to kick it in that direction and hope one of those 3 guys can down it. But I don't think they were set for a second before the ball was snapped. Now, if you're Georgia, do you take the ball on the 9, or do you back Wilbur up and give him another chance to pin him a little bit deeper?
I think you back him up and hope for a better result.
Well, the last time this happened, he shanked the second punt.
Illegal shift. On the kicking team, they never were set for a full second prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty, remains 4th down.
With 3 minutes and 18 seconds to go. So Thomas Flowers is at the 10-yard line, and Wilbur will go either left or right. Now here come the 3 men out wide to the left. And he goes for the corner. Oh, wow.
Almost.
Reggie Nelson.
Touchback. He never had control.
Right.
He was trying to beg for it there. Great idea and nearly perfect execution. Reggie Nelson just not able to catch the football cleanly.
So the Georgia Bulldogs pick up 11 yards after the punt. They've got it at the 20 with 3:10 to go, down by 4.
Edgar, I shall take the voice of this lovely woman.
Mrs. Trump?
And put it into this damn.
Why?
To tell the world the benefits of Aflac with sex appeal.
Brilliant, sir!
I know. Now throw the switch.
If you're hurt and can't work, Aflac can help pay your bills with cash.
Genius! And her?
Aflac!
For all the extra hours you dedicate to your students, we think you deserve some extra credit. TIAA CREF, serving the retirement needs of those in the academic, medical, cultural, and research fields. Visit us online to find out how we can serve you. TIAA CREF, financial services for the greater good.
You've waited, you've dreamed, and now it's finally back. Endless Shrimp at Red Lobster. The only time of year to enjoy all the shrimp you can eat. Don't miss Endless Shrimp right now, only at Red Lobster.
Want to learn about all the new TVs? Come to Circuit City's Home Entertainment Made Simple event. We'll guide you through all the latest HD TV technology. Plus, get no interest until 2008 on all TVs and home audio, $4.99 and up. This Sunday from 1 to 6 at Circuit City.
Tomorrow, Leslie Visser has a Mike Martz exclusive. Shannon catches up to Chargers standout Antonio Gates. And the Colts' Dwight Freeney is live in the studio. It's all coming up on the NFL Today, first on the field tomorrow at 12 noon.
Another update.
Monday on Dave, don't miss Woody Harrelson, plus Late Show Halloween fun. And later this week, Dave's All New with Bruce Willis and Billy Crystal. The Late Show with David Letterman, all this week on CBS, America's most watched network.
Well, Joe Tereshinski is already going to be remembered for his participation in this game one way or another. If he leads this comeback to a Georgia victory, he'll be legendary.
Immediate elevation. Here's the play fake. Tereshinski and a mix-up on the play. It's incomplete as Leonard Pope tried to shake loose of Burnell Brown and couldn't quite get the, or Jarvis Herring rather.
Leonard Pope, 2 catches in the ball game, both in the first half. Martrez Milner, their other weapon at tight end, no catches. He's coming out of the game now, being replaced by Mohamed Massaquoi, who has had a pretty good ball game catching the ball from Joe Tereshinski, but they've got to hit a couple plays in the passing game to go along with what they do running it.
They'll keep it on the ground and not get anything. Brandon Seiler, number 40, made sure of that as he cold caught Danny Ware.
But credit Stephen Harris, the defensive tackle. He's the guy who got penetration, number 93, and forced Danny Ware to bounce it back inside. And that's where Seiler wrapped him up.
Mark Richt's team 18-2 in opponent stadiums, but only 5-5 in neutral sites. And this is a neutral site. It's 3rd down, 11. Play action. Blitz coming. Deep pass caught. Out to the 40, first down.
What a
Clock
big
stops while they move the chains.
What a big throw. I formation. They go play action on third down. That helps with pass protection. It keeps normal personnel on the field. It's a zone defense for Florida. Normally they play man. This time they chose to play zone, and McClendon found the hole behind the linebackers for the first down.
Charlie Strong, defensive coordinator, co-coordinator. First down after the 21-yard gain. The clock starts again. It's 2 minutes to go. Here's Tarashinsky. Pumps once, drills it, man open, hits him in the helmet.
Face.
Hit him right in the helmet, McClendon.
Boy, they had that one too. Good pass protection. Florida brought a couple linebackers in this play. So man-to-man coverage, and McClendon was wide open. And the ball just doinked right off his face mask.
Second down and 10.
The good thing about that is the clock stopped. They still have 2 timeouts as well.
Thomas Brown is in the ball game now. Here's Tarashinsky. Ryan Schnetzer is the center. Blitz. Tarashinsky across the middle, knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Might have been Mincy, might have been Thomas. See who got his hand up. 3rd and 10.
Florida showing pressure, and then they dropped out. 4-man rush, and Jeremy Mincy got his hands up. Nick Jones was blocking on him, but not able to get the hands down. And another big 3rd down and long for Georgia. The last time they played zone, and he found a hole. Will they come after him on this 3rd down play?
2 wide left, 1 wide right. Quarterback keeper again. And Tarashinsky's going to be facing a 4th and 12.
Jarvis Moss, what a play. And the clock is rolling. I think Georgia has to call a timeout here to set up what they want exactly on the 4th down play. They certainly didn't expect to lose yardage. This is 2-down territory, so I'm sure they're thinking even if we get 6 or 7, we've got a manageable 4th down. They lost yardage because of the great play by Jarvis Moss.
Florida needs a victory in this game, plus help from somebody else, in order to remain in contention for the spot in Atlanta. They lead by 4.
NyQuil. It'll relieve your symptoms and you'll sleep great. I will. You'll sleep like a baby or a lamb. You'll sleep like a little kitty cat. Like a log. You'll sleep like a log. Yeah, you'll sleep like
I would if I didn't have a roommate.
Like...
NyQuil, the nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, fever, best sleep you ever got with a cold medicine.
69 seconds to go. Georgia burned a timeout. They've got 1 left, but more significantly, they have a 4th down 11. They are undefeated in SEC play thus far, 5-0. Should they win today, they would clinch a spot in the championship game in Atlanta. If Florida hangs on and wins this, they then must win out and hope that somebody else beats Georgia to get that spot. Now then, 4th and 11.
Well, I think you've got to protect Joe Tarashinsky, first of all. You've got to make sure you have good, solid protection, and then you've got to call a play that can convert versus man or zone, because you don't know what Florida's going to play on this 4th down play. I formation, tight end in the game, see what Florida plays.
Here's the play fake and the blitz. Tarashinsky throws it up, incomplete. He heaved the ball as he was going down, and it was number 57, Jeremy Mincy.
4th and 11, no threat of a run, so the Florida front can really come after the quarterback. It's just a 4-man rush. Ray McDonald was the guy who got there first. He forced him up in the pocket, and Jeremy Mincy finished him off. Ray McDonald, the first game healthy back from the knee surgery, makes the play, and Mincy gets the sack. Wow.
And the reaction from the Gators. Brian Crum. Joe Tarashinsky III. Not to be.
He didn't have a chance on that play. Ray McDonald was in the backfield quickly.
Georgia can stop it one more time. Here's the handoff. Deshaun Wynn. And he picks up a half a yard. Will Thompson. Well, this is a Florida team. There's Brandon Coutu, 1 for 3 today. He missed from 39. He doinked one from 52. Deshaun Wynn coming to the sideline, and Georgia uses its final timeout.
You know, it's amazing. So much about perception in college football. Look what Florida has done. First time in school history they played 3 top 15 schools in 1 month. This month of October, very, very difficult. When they beat Tennessee in September, they were also ranked number 4. Coming into the game, Urban Meyer 5-2 in his first year at Florida. Charlie Weiss, the same record at Notre Dame, and yet the perception is that he's done a magnificent job at Notre Dame, and Urban Meyer has struggled in his first year at Florida. Part of that's expectations, part of it is perception. But if Urban Meyer's team holds on and wins today, he will be the first coach in school history to defeat 2 teams ranked number 4 or higher in his first season as a Florida coach. That's pretty good.
Well, Florida now through the heavy part of their schedule. Here's what Georgia has remaining. They have an off week. Then they are at home against Auburn, at home against Kentucky, and finish off at Georgia Tech. One of those teams must defeat the Bulldogs, and all of a sudden Florida's become huge Auburn fans. And here is Chris Leak, finally takes a knee and then is pounced upon. Trey Battle with the tackle. And for Urban Meyer's team, they lose to LSU 21-17 week before last. Apparently going to win this. Then they are at home next week against Vanderbilt, at South Carolina. It'll be a ball coach against a ball coach, and Florida State, a game that we will televise in late November.
Tell you, this was a gut check win for Florida. It really was, and they did it by running the football. It was their running game that took pressure off Chris Leak more than anything else and allowed them to win the football game today.
Florida's going to win it for the 14th time in the last 16 years. And the player of the game, season high, 108 yards, 19 carries, an average of just under 6 per. Career high, both carries and yards. Number 21 had a costly bobble at the end of the first half that had they held on to the ball going in would have given them a 21-3 lead. But for Joe Tarashinsky III and the Georgia Bulldogs, the undefeated season comes to a close. Two seconds to be reset on the game clock. Chris Leak, 5th win over a top 15 opponent away from Gainesville. That's pretty good.
Yep. Good comeback for him this week. You know, after the way he played 2 weeks ago in LSU. Urban Meyer, they did a great job of doing things differently offensively to protect him. And that guy right there, I'll tell you, he didn't play a bad game. Joe Tarashinsky did some good things in the game today. He managed the game. That last play on 4th down, he had no shot.
Delay of game, I guess, is what the call is. Yes. Delay of game. And so one final knee with 2 seconds remaining. Florida Gators go to 6-2. And remain alive in their quest for a berth in the championship game in Atlanta. Mark Richt, Urban Meyer. The exchange of pleasantries at midfield. 14-10 final. Florida got all 14 in the first quarter. Hung on to win it by 4. Chris Leak, Mohamed Massaquoi, teammates at Independence High School in Charlotte, North Carolina. Let's go down to Tracy, who's with Urban Meyer.
Thanks a lot, Coach. After a tough, emotional last few weeks, how big of a win is this for your team?
This is a huge win. You know, it wasn't pretty, but I'll tell you what, in the SEC conference, there's some great defenses, and Florida Gators are one of those great defenses. They hung in there, and I'm awful proud of our team.
How about the poise and the performance of this guy over here, Chris Leak?
Yeah, we did a lot of good things for him, and I'll tell you what, he played his heart out. Chris Leak's a great football player.
Chris, how did you get it done today?
You know, we just came out, you know, we stuck together as a team, and we went out, just played with a passion. And, the guys in the locker room just did an awesome job. Defense, offense, special teams.
Thanks a lot. Congratulations. You're still in the hunt for the SEC championship. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Tracy. Well, despite the loss, we're going to a Georgia play for the play of the game. Let's take a look at the play of the game presented by Wrangler 5-star Premium Denim Jeans. I can't wait for this. Larry Munson, 83 years of age, his 40th Georgia-Florida game.
We run a man in motion, Bailey, and Tereshinski fell down, but he threw it to Thomas Brown, who's going to throw a pass to a receiver. Touchdown! Tereshinski caught a pass from Browning.
Well, that wasn't quite enough. Joe Tereshinski catches a touchdown pass, but it winds up a 14-10 win for the Florida Gators. Tim Brandel will be along shortly for Todd Blackledge and Tracy Wolfson and all of our traveling crew of the SEC on CBS. Vern Lundquist. See you next week.